Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto was immortal in One Piece. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by KENCHI 618 and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. Dawn of a New Age. Cyborg Aya. Uzumaki Naruto sat by himself on the coast of the elemental nations just staring out over the ocean. It had been around 100 years since the close of the Fourth Great Shinobi War and Uzumaki Naruto was bored. Damn it, nothing has happened around here in like 50 years. Appearing 18 years old, Naruto was dressed in his red sage jacket. Instead of his orange jumpsuit beneath he had changed his clothing so as to allow himself to vanish into the background more easily. He now wore a dark red short-sleeved shirt tied on his body with white pants with white shinobi sandals. Unable to totally part with the color that had defined him for years, Naruto had an orange sash around his waist. Naruto no longer wore the headband signifying his allegiance to Konohagakure, his home village, for his own reasons. Instead of having the leaf symbol on his forehead protector, he had one custom made to show the kanji of Mount Myaboku, the home of the toads, and where he became a sage. Due to the combination of the naturally enhanced life force of the Uzumaki clan and the fact that Naruto had been sealed with perhaps the strongest entity in the known ninja world, the Kyuubi no Yoko, his already potent life force, extended his own lifespan due to the boost from the fox. Now after countless years of being the protector of the elemental nations, he found himself utterly dissatisfied with his current trend of action, or namely the lack thereof. He didn't even have anyone to spend time with. All of his friends and allies from his heyday were dead and gone. There were no challenges anymore, Madara was gone, Akatsuki had crumbled, the Moon's Eye plan had been utterly stopped. Even the system of shinobi that had ruled the lands for years before Naruto's birth was beginning to fall out of practice. There was just nothing to do anymore. He never became Hokage, he simply settled in as a traveling protector of the lands. It wouldn't have worked out anyway, I mean he was basically damn immortal with his lifespan, and as an immortal being Hokage that situation would have been troublesome, so he vanished from the limelight. Having someone of such notoriety and strength aligned to one village for however long Naruto's life would last for would have made things tense, especially seeing as how his name was legend among every hidden village. Who knew being damn near immortal was so boring? I guess I can see why Madara team took to trying to manipulate his way into ruling the world, there isn't anything else to do, and that's an option that's always on the table. Naruto yawned as the waves crashed into the shoreline. He didn't have any responsibilities, no challenges, nothing really. He could go where he wanted, do what he liked, and the thing about it was that if anyone in the elemental nations did know about him, there wasn't anyone powerful enough to do anything to him. At this point it was like he was just existing without any real purpose. Naruto looked over to the side and saw a harbor full of ships. I've never even been off of this continent. I have no clue what else there is on this planet. Who knows? I'll probably find something else to do for the next 100 years. Nodding to himself, Naruto stood up and began making his way towards the nearest coastal town. Naruto found a merchant's ship that looked undermanned. Walking up to what looked to be the quartermaster by the way he was giving out commands and requests, Naruto tapped the man on the shoulder. Yes lad, what can I do for you? Naruto held back a smirk at the lad remark, lad. Yeah right, I'm older than you. Naruto grinned, well you guys looked kind of swamped and I'm bored. The quartermaster gave Naruto a grateful smile, thanks lad, but we haven't much to pay you with if you could help us. Naruto looked around, well, if I could get passage on your ship that would be great. I'd help any way I could the entire voyage. A strange look came on the man's face, do you happen to know where we're heading lad? Naruto shook his head, grin still in place, nope. The quartermaster sweat dropped, we plan on leaving the elemental nations altogether. You'll be an unfamiliar lands boy. Naruto's grin grew ever bigger, even better. I'm definitely going now. It's getting very boring around here for a guy like me. Who knows? Maybe I'll find something to do out there. He closed his eyes and smiled faintly, yeah this place hasn't needed me in a while. I think it's time for me to disappear. He opened his eyes and smiled, so where are you going anyway since you aren't kicking me off? The man smirked at Naruto, and who said you're getting on lad? Life on a ship is hard work, if you're going to be on this ship you're going to have to work for your keep. He poked Naruto in the chest, what can you contribute to our crew? Naruto returned his smirk and moved past him, well we'll see. You can either accept the extra help from someone that would work for simple passage on an understaffed ship, or you can not, and maybe end up making things harder on yourself. The loud laugh came from the side where Naruto saw a man coming towards him and the quartermaster. The man was middle-aged with flecks of gray coming into his brown beard. From the way the quartermaster acted upon seeing him, Naruto assumed that this man was the captain. Walking up to Naruto he thumped him hard on the shoulder, well now, you're a strapping young lad. Naruto cursed in his head at yet again being called lad when he was sure as hell older than everyone else on the ship and then some. Is this boy trying to gain passage on our ship? The quartermaster straightened up. Yes sir. It seems he was pretty much the only person that we wound up commissioning to return with us to the East Blue. The captain gave a sigh. This final discovered continent sure has some introverted people inhabiting it. You must be pretty hard up for some action around here kid. Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Well you could say that. So what do you say? Am I in? Can I go with you guys or what? The captain stroked his beard for a moment before slapping Naruto hard on the back. I like your pluck kid. You're in, but you're going to have to pull your weight around here. Now that that's settled, Quartermaster Gibbs, let's be off. The quartermaster, now identified as Gibbs, sweat dropped. Captain, we're understaffed. Many of the men we came here with have disembarked in order to try and live here. No one is attempting to come aboard with us except for this boy, and that means we can't take to the seas. Naruto blinked. So you're saying that the only thing keeping you all here is the fact that you just don't have enough guys to run the whole ship? Gibbs and the captain blinked. Aye. Naruto grinned and made a cross sign with his index and middle fingers on both hands. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu. In a puff of smoke there were now 30 Narutos where there once was one. Will this be good enough for you to ship out of here with? Naruto said with a satisfied look on his face. Akuma no Mi, devil fruit. Was the collective cry that came up from every man on the ship who had witnessed the feat of self-replication. Naruto looked around in a confused fashion. Akuma no what? The captain pointed at all of the Naruto copies. Such a power. The only thing like it is the power of an Akuma no Mi. Which one did you take boy? Naruto didn't know what the hell he was talking about but decided to just go with the flow. I don't know. I've had this power since I was 12 really. He wasn't really lying. Gibbs ran his hand through his hair. Oh well, that isn't important right now. What is important is that we have enough staff to head out of here. The captain stopped focusing on Naruto's Kage Bunshin and turned his attention to the rest of the crew. Alright gentlemen, prepare for departure. He turned to Naruto. What is your name my boy? Naruto grinned and pointed his thumb at himself. Me? I'm Uzumaki Naruto, at your service. 2 months later. After about a week of seasickness, which was especially miserable on the first day when Naruto's clones all got seasick and puked randomly all over the place before dispelling, Naruto started getting his bearings around the ship. After watching the others in order to learn what needed to be done, he began to take some of the jobs for himself. Once again utilizing Kage Bunshin, he managed to get experience in many workstations on the ship. His favorite however, was manning the crow's nest, as it was just a fantastic excuse for a lazy bastard to sleep. Shikamaru would have loved it. However one day when he found himself actually paying attention to his job of keeping lookout he saw something. Hey captain. What's with that ship out there with the crap on its sails? Naruto pointed out at a ship that was coming up on them rather quickly. The captain looked through a scope and began to sweat. Pirates. The ship broke into an uproar as men scrambled about. Naruto quirked his eyebrow. He wasn't a stranger to pirates. When he was a ninja, pirates roamed the coasts of the elemental nations all the time, but they were so weak it was pathetic for the most part. Naruto climbed down from the crow's nest and got the attention of the ship captain who was barking out frantic orders. Yo captain. Let me go over and handle them, I'm starting to get bored anyway. The captain looked at Naruto with a WTF face before his features lit up. Of course. You're a user of the fruit, you're basically a one-man army. Yes, go and take care of them and you'll have my eternal gratitude. Naruto shrugged as he headed towards the edge of the boat to jump over the railing. I'm on it. Wait. Those that eat the Akuma no Mi can't swim. You'll drown Uzumaki. Naruto turned to the rest of the crew and smirked. It's not that easy to get rid of me you know. Naruto jumped over the edge amid the gasps of the others as they crowded around to potentially jump in and save him. They got quite a shock however when they saw Naruto standing on the surface of the water, running at a speed none of them could match towards the pirate ship. Turning and waving over his shoulder, he grinned. I'll be back in a flash okay? That idiot Krieg taking us all into the Grand Line like that. A bald man with dark eyes stated as he looked out at the merchant ship they were quickly gaining on. Well now that he and all of those other idiots are toast we can do what we want now. The pirate ran up to him. Captain, we'll be on them within 5 minutes at this rate. He smirked and rubbed his hands together. Good. Tell the men to get ready to board. We'll be getting quite a haul tonight. Yeah you guys need it too, your rations are total shit. Where's the ramen? The captain turned to come face to face with a blonde teen sitting on the banister eating a can of their food. He cringed and threw it overboard. Yuck, this is terrible. How could you feed this to people? I would eat my own leg before I eat that crap again. The captain got a tick mark on his head. Who the fuck are you? The blonde grinned widely and stood up before settling into a ridiculous pose. I am the man that makes the men of the nations of the elements quiver in fear and their women in lust. I am the immortal shinobi, the eternal Toad Sennin, and your personal hero, Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto finished, hopping on one leg and gesturing grandly like his old master. For some reason there were kabuki instruments going in the background, apparently Naruto had created some cage bunshin before getting on to play them. Naruto stood up straight and sighed in contentment, I see why that old pervert did that now. That was awesome. Hey, you guys aren't planning on attacking that ship over there, are you? Because then we'd have a little problem if you were. By now Naruto's presence had been registered by the remaining pirates on the boat who had begun to crowd around him with their weapons drawn. The captain scoffed and gestured to his men, who do you think you are, punk? We're from Don Krieg's pirate armada. We'll tear you apart. Cheers went up from the pirates as Naruto stood with a dull look on his face. Naruto cupped his hands to his eyes and looked around, now I'm not the smartest guy in the world and I'm pretty new at all of this nautical stuff, but isn't armada a term that basically means a fuckload of ships? And here I only see one, yeah this is a real armada alright. Naruto then got a tick mark on his head, and what do you mean who do I think I am? I just fucking told you, shithead. Do you have the short-term memory of a goldfish now too? The captain growled, damn it, we're wasting time with this guy. Kill him already so we can go get our loot. The pirates rushed Naruto with sabers and bare hands, getting a sigh from Naruto. 20 men ended up getting knocked senseless where they stood or being thrown overboard in no time flat at the hands of some random blonde kid that came out of nowhere. Naruto sighed as only the captain was left, that's it. That's the best you idiots have got. I shouldn't even have woken up for that, that was pathetic. If this is the best the world has to offer then I'm not impressed. The captain brandished his sword and rushed Naruto, screaming at the top of his lungs. Naruto lifted his leg out to the side and kicked his in the chest. The pirate was as if he ran directly into a metal pole rooted into a brick wall and dropped to the ground accordingly. Naruto grumbled to himself as he made a massive cage bunshin and ordered them to go get rope, I should have stayed home for this. The captain of the merchant ship had a gobsmacked look on his face when Naruto came running back onto his ship 10 minutes after he left, saying he would handle the pirates, boy have you ever thought of joining the Marines. Naruto took on a thoughtful look, from the sound of that it seems like some kind of government military right. Upon seeing the captain nod he frowned, no thanks, been there done that. I don't fight for anyone other than myself and the people I care for. I'm not becoming someone else's tool. He thumbed over his shoulder at the pirate ship, what should I do with them? I didn't kill them and they don't have a thing worth taking. The quartermaster came up, well you don't look like you have any money at all. If I were you I would see if I could take them to Orange Town and see if I could get a marine patrol to take them, maybe you could get a reward. Naruto scratched his head, why not? Alright, then that's what I'll do. Naruto had them mark it on a map they provided him from the captain's quarters, thanks for having me you guys, it was very cool of you to take me on your ship. The captain grinned and patted him hard on the back again, it was no problem Uzumaki. You saved us from a fight with pirates after all. I hope we'll see you again soon out there somewhere. Naruto regained his footing and nodded, yeah you guys too. Stay safe out there and you'll be hearing something about me soon enough, I'm certain of it. With that Naruto jumped from the merchant ship to return to the commandeered pirate ship to begin his own journey on the ocean. 1 week later. Naruto pulled into port in Orange Town with the pirates he had captured still tied up on the ship. After docking with the help of Cage Bunshin, he decided to look for someone that could help him with his pirate issue. Walking into the town he felt something off, it's like no one is even here. A ghost town. But the merchants were so sure that this place could help, why is this place deserted? He hadn't seen a soul. No people out and about, no one working their shops or anything. The only living creature that Naruto saw in the entire village was a dog standing in front of a pet shop. Naruto spent at least 15 minutes staring the dog down as it simply sat there unmoving. As he pondered this a crack of gunfire rang out in the slight distance, he then caught sight and sound of someone falling from the sky after being dropped by a huge bird. As he watched a person drop, Naruto turned away and headed back to his ship, oh well, not my problem. A few minutes later Naruto found himself back at the ship he had docked as he noticed another, larger more ornate ship, looking somewhat like a carousel was near his ship. Shaking his head at the weirdness of the people that inhabited the rest of the world, he checked on his prisoners smirking as the restrained men attempted to curse him out. Getting off of his boat he heard someone call out to him, hey. Naruto turned towards the voice to find a well-figured young man around his age with short light green hair and 3 gold earrings in his left earlobe. He wore a plain white shirt with 3 buttons at the collar with black trousers, black shoes, a black bandana around his arm, and a green wide sash around his waist. Naruto then took notice of the 3 swords he had on his right hip. Strange, but potentially dangerous. Naruto raised an eyebrow at the man, yes. Can I help you? Hopefully whatever this guy wanted would actually help him find somebody in this town. The newcomer gave Naruto a lazy look, seemingly sizing up Naruto the way Naruto had just done to him. Have you seen a guy with a red vest, blue shorts, and a straw hat on his head? He probably would have had a stupid look on his face. I think he might be in the grasp of a bird or something. Naruto scratched his head. I don't know about the description, but I did see a guy get dropped by a bird in the middle of town not too long ago, maybe an hour I'd guess. He pointed towards the middle of the town, that should be your best bet. The man sighed and started moving towards the indicated direction. Alright, thanks I guess. Naruto waved the swordsman off and returned to business as usual. Sitting on the dock, looking at a map of the nearest places to go in order to maybe turn the fools he had captured in and restock, seeing as how the burg he was currently in didn't have anyone besides some guy with green hair in it. After a while Naruto began to wonder if leaving the elemental nations was such a good idea. Man, this whole traveling the world thing is going to be harder than I thought. Sighing to himself, he made to return to his ship when the noise of cannon fire rang out. Looking around to see what was up, Naruto ended up witnessing his ship explode into little splinters. Naruto stood with a look of disbelief on his face as he watched the wreckage in port. His stunned staring was broken by 3 pirates that had walked up on Naruto from behind. It looks like the captain fired off one of his special cannonballs. This poor schlub's ship is done for. Naruto began leaking off massive amounts of killing intent. The captain? Who's captain? Who's the dead asshole that did that to my ship? The pirates backed off at the anger coming from the strange teen, Captain Buggy. He runs this town, didn't you know? Naruto shook his head angrily with his back still turned. The pirate started getting a little bolder now. You should be ecstatic actually, the captain doesn't use his special buggy balls for no reason. You must have made him angry. They all began to walk towards the seemingly non-responsive boy. Naruto finally spoke. I never met the guy, but he's going to wish he didn't just turn my ship into floating lumber by the time I'm done. And I'll start with you 3. Naruto then proceeded to beat the living daylights out of the 3 pirates until his temper was adequately sated. Naruto spared the unconscious pirates a last glance before he headed into town again, this time finding an intriguing sight for him. Naruto saw a strange man with white hair shaped like teddy bear ears and a woolly-looking half-top shirt riding a gigantic lion 5 times the size of the man riding it. He then saw a pair of arms stretch out, twisting in a spiral, grabbing the lion and lifting it before slamming it on its head. Gomu Gomu no Tsuchi, Gum Gum Hammer. Naruto's eyes lit up at the sight of that. Oh Kami. Finally, someone around here that can fight. The attacker had kneeled down on one knee by the lion. He had short black hair, a scar under his left eye, a red vest, sandals, and blue shorts. Naruto noticed the straw hat by his side and realized this was the person that the green-haired guy had been looking for. What was that guy worried about? This kid is awesome. The teddy bear-haired man burst into frantic tears. Richie. He pointed at the kneeling boy. What are you? He stood up and dusted himself off. A long time ago I ate the Gomu Gomu no Mi, Gum Gum fruit. The strange white-haired man looked slightly fearful. Gomu Gomu no Mi, could it be that you have gained this ability from eating an Akuma no Mi, just like Captain Buggy? He started sweating. Okay, I'll give you everything that you want. And I'll apologize. Sorry. The rubbery boy had a dark shade over his eyes. I don't need an apology because it won't bring back Shushu's treasure. And you? He then stared up at the lion tamer with angry eyes. I came to get payback from you. He stretched his arm out and grabbed him by the collar before reeling him in, ignoring his cries for mercy. Have a taste of your own medicine. He then cracked the man in the face ridiculously hard, sending him to the ground in an unconscious heap. Naruto's eyes were now sparkling at the sight of the strange boy effortlessly destroying the 2 enemies. That was awesome. I haven't seen anyone stretch like that since I was a kid, and the guy that could was an ass clown. This kid is the real deal. Naruto ran up to the boy who had picked something up from the lion. Yo. That was great. By far the most entertaining thing I've seen all day. The boy blinked before giving Naruto a stupid grin that looked somewhat familiar to him. Thanks. Who are you again? Naruto chuckled. Me? You can go ahead and call me Uzumaki Naruto. Now who are you? The boy thumbed himself in the chest. I'm Monkey D. Luffy. And I'm going to be king of the pirates. Naruto sweat dropped. Now what about how this guy just stated that is giving me deja vu? Naruto shook it off as another question arose. Wait. Pirates have a king. Never mind that. Anyway, that fight was awesome. I was flipping out when you slammed that lion on the ground like a dead fish. Very impressive. Luffy wiped his nose bashfully. Oh, that was nothing. He gripped his own bicep with a grin still situated on his face before he noticed what he had in his hand. I'll be right back. Luffy then started to walk off. Naruto, curious about the young fighter, followed him until they came to a ruined building with a small white dog sitting out front that reminded Naruto somewhat of his old friend Kiba's dog, Akamaru. Naruto quickly shook that from his thoughts. No, don't think about that. They all had happy peaceful lives after you left Konoha. You kept them all safe, they died happy, that was all you could do for them. Naruto was snapped from his thoughts by a girl Luffy's age with orange hair that went down to her neck. She had on a white and blue striped shirt, an orange short skirt, and orange high-heeled sandals. Naruto smirked as he noticed that this girl looked good, and how the hell did this girl know the rubber kid until she spoke. "Oh ho, Mr. Pirate, so you're still alive. I thought you would have been finished off by that lion." An old man next to her in a hem battle gear spoke up, "Hey, what are you saying?" She ignored him and tried to lash out at Luffy before being held back by the old man. "Before you get your pirate pals over here to raid the village, why don't you just go to hell?" Naruto raised an eyebrow out of curiosity at her outburst, while Luffy's face didn't even register that he had even heard anything until he walked up to her while she was still being held back. "You think you can hurt me?" He then childishly stuck his tongue out at her and walked past her. This pissed the girl off to no end as she struggled to free herself and assault Luffy. "Okay, you wanna fight me, you stupid pirate?" She turned to Naruto, who was snickering with an amused grin on his face. "And what the hell are you gawking at? Take your rubber pirate buddy and get out of this place." Naruto frowned. "That's not very nice at all. I don't know anything about that guy at all other than the fact that he likes straw hats and he can body slam a lion 4 times his size. And I'm not a pirate, I'm just some guy that showed up in town at the wrong time." He then took on a thoughtful look. "Actually, I think it was the right time because I was getting bored as all hell just sailing. Maybe this was a blessing of some sort." Naruto then stopped paying attention to her as he found himself lost in his own thoughts. "She didn't like that at all. Stop ignoring me, you blonde idiot." The sound of something being set down got everyone's attention as they all looked at Luffy. Luffy sat down next to the dog after placing a box of food in front of it with a big grin. "That's the only one I could bring back. The rest was eaten up, if you can believe me." The girl calmed down to the point where the old man let her go as they all watched Luffy interact with the dog. Naruto smiled to himself. "That's one selfless guy." He started getting the girl's attention. "I saw him fight that lion. I just figured it pissed him off or something. I never bothered to ask why because it just looked so cool. But fighting for this little dog and now he's comforting him after he lost his building. I really like this kid now." He noticed the girl looking at him, probably mirroring some of her own thoughts, and gave her a cheesy grin. "I am Uzumaki Naruto. Nice to meet you." She looked a little taken back at his chipper attitude. I'm Nami." Naruto nodded as they watched the dog bark and walk away. Luffy stood up and waved. "Yeah. You be strong too." That brought some good-natured laughs from everyone around. After the dog got out of sight, Nami sighed and walked up to Luffy with a smile. "Sorry for screaming at you." Luffy looked at her and grinned. "It's okay, you lost someone important to you because of pirates. You've been through a lot, haven't you? You don't need to say anything." The old man near them finally exploded. "I can't stand it anymore. It's just so miserable. Shushu and you youngsters are fighting like this, but why is it that I, being the village chief, can only watch our village be trampled?" Naruto's sweat dropped and pointed lamely. "Maybe because you're just an old man with a flimsy spear and shitty armor. Commie old man, that crap doesn't look like it can stop wooden stake, let alone a sword or a bullet." Nami saw how riled up the old man was getting. "Wait, chief, calm down." The old chief looked too inspired to stop. "To a real man there are just some fights that cannot be avoided. Isn't that right, kid?" Luffy grinned. "That's right, mister." Nami yelled at Luffy, "Don't encourage him." The chief then launched into a spiel on how his last village was destroyed and how 40 years ago he and the villagers built the village that they were currently standing in. Upon finishing, proclaiming that he was going to stand up and fight a cannonball destroyed the chief's house and sent them all to the ground. Naruto hopped up to his feet and pointed at the wreckage. "That's the same damn thing that just happened to my ship. Who the fuck shot that shit off?" Luffy jumped up next to Naruto. "Ahhh. Zoro was sleeping in there." The chief looked at his former house in anger. "Is he dead? The kid with the waistband?" Luffy yelled into the smoke and rubble. "Hey Zoro, are you still alive?" "Ugh, that was some bad way to wake me up." A green-haired man sat up holding his head. Naruto identified him as the same guy who had been at the harbor with him earlier. The chief was growling now. "It feels as if my chest is being scraped out. I'll not let these pirates trample all over us again. I am the chief and I won't let the village be treated this way." He finished, holding his spear in the air. As he tried to storm off, Nami held him in place telling him it was reckless. "I know it's reckless." That forced her to let go of him and he took the opportunity to jet off to confront the pirates. "Just you wait, Buggy the clown." Zoro laughed from where he was on the ground. "For some reason this is starting to feel more fun." Luffy laughed to himself. "You know. I agree." Nami just looked between them and yelled at them. "How can you still laugh?" Luffy simply gave her his ever-present grin. "Don't worry, I like that old man. I'm not going to let him die." Nami still didn't understand. "How can you still laugh in this situation? Where the hell is your confidence coming from?" Luffy didn't really answer. "Our destination is the Grand Line. Now we're going to steal that map again." He extended a hand to Nami. "Will you join us? You need the map too, don't you? And the treasure." "I'm not going to become a pirate." Nami simply stated while slapping Luffy's hand away, rather than partners let's just say we're cooperating. Helping each other to achieve our goals. Luffy laughed and nodded before turning to Naruto, and what about you new guy? Are you in too? Naruto's lips quirked as he placed his hands behind his head and grinned, well, since I owe that Buggy the clown or whatever his name is for trashing my ride and sinking my bounties to the bottom of the sea I'm in. Zoro pulled the bandana off of his arm and wrapped it on his head, gaining Nami's attention, you're going too? What about your injury? Zoro grinned as he tightened it on his head, more important than the injury done to my body is the injury done to my name that I suffered because all I did in my last fight was get hurt. So should we go? The three men along with a somewhat reluctant Nami began walking in the direction the chief went off in to confront the pirate Buggy. Upon arriving they found the chief being held off of the ground by his throat with a disembodied hand. Naruto once again raised an eyebrow at the weirdness, but hell if he hadn't seen weirder before. Luffy sprang into action and freed the chief by prying the hand off of his neck, getting the attention of Buggy, Straw Hat, so you come without a single trace of fear by your own will. You morons you're also dead. He then noticed Naruto, who the hell are you? Naruto looked at Buggy. He had a red and white striped short-sleeved shirt, white gloves, a sash around his waist, and a pair of loose aqua-colored pants that reached his calves and showed his striped socks and pointy shoes. He had a fur-lined captain's coat and an orange captain hat on his head. On his face there was clown makeup and a big red clown nose. Naruto glared at the clown, your stupid cannonball destroyed my ship you bastard. You'd better have insurance ass-whooping insurance. Because you're about to pay a deductible. Buggy seethed at the group of kids that were facing him down, you're all dead. Naruto rolled his eyes, far stronger people than you have tried before. Nami backed off, listen, I don't care if you guys fight or not. I'm just here for the map and the treasure. Zoro sighed, yeah I know. The chief stood up from the ground, what did all of you come back for? You four just stay out of this. This is my fight. I'm the one who must protect this village. Don't interfere. Luffy then proceeded to smash him in the back of the head with the palm of his hand, rendering him unconscious. Naruto sighed in relief, thanks for that rubber boy. I'm all for fighting your own battles and all, but that was getting overbearing he was starting to remind me of somebody, and not a good somebody. Nami wasn't as understanding, you idiot. What the hell did you do that to the chief for? Luffy grinned, because he would just get in the way. Naruto returned his grin with one of his own. He knew there was a reason he liked this kid. Zoro agreed with his captain, that was smart thinking. If you had left him alone without a doubt he would have recklessly charged. It's safer for him to be unconscious. Nami yelled at the rubber boy, stop doing unnecessary things. Luffy simply pivoted on his foot to face Buggy, hey you. You huge, red, ugly, big nose. The entire pirate crew of Buggy went eerily silent until their captain screamed. Fire the Buggy special cannonball. Fire. Naruto lowered himself to prepare to rush their position, oh like hell I'm letting you shoot another of those damn things off. The others were preparing to move out of the way except Luffy. Nami and Zoro tried to pull him from his spot, oi. Are you trying to get yourself killed you idiot? Move Luffy. Luffy had a confident grin on his face, do you think that because of a cannonball I'll move a single inch? Luffy waited the cannonball out before inhaling a ton of air sharply, gomu gomu no fusen, gum gum balloon. Luffy's body swelled up to a massive size as the ball bounced against his stomach. Much to the shock and horror of Buggy's crew he fired it back off of the rebound and annihilated the building they had set the cannon on. Naruto grinned widely as Zoro complained that Luffy should have just said he was going to do that, I don't think I'm ever going to get sick of seeing him do stuff like that. Seriously, this stuff is classic. Nami yelled in disbelief, what the hell are you? She marched up to Luffy, explain yourself, I don't understand this at all. From the moment you fought that lion and came back alive, this isn't humanly possible. How the hell did you just swell up like a balloon? You sure do like to say hell a lot Nami-chan. Nami turned her glare on Naruto who looked away innocently, while Zoro chuckled. Luffy crossed his arms, gomu gomu. Nami cut him off, I'm not asking for the name of the move you monster. The smoke cleared to reveal Buggy standing with two of his crewmen as human shields to protect him from the blast, you're chatting around making a lot of noise, like you're not scared. I'm so mad words fail me. The man that had hidden himself behind the lion of the Leontimer pirate dropped the giant cat and dusted his hands off. He was a skinny-looking man with a dark green hairstyle that covered half of his face. The lower half of his face was mostly covered by a white and blue checker pattern scarf. He had a purple sleeveless coat that went down to his knees and white pants held up by a light blue sash. Much to the Leontimer's panic he tossed the still-alive lion aside until he saw Luffy in front of him, Captain Buggy. Be careful, he's the one I tried to tell you about. He's a rubberman. Nami looked at Luffy, rubberman. Luffy stretched his own cheeks widely, yep, want to see. Buggy looked at the man, Moji why didn't you tell me that sooner? He picked him up and threw him at Luffy, Naruto, Nami, and Zoro. Buggy screamed as he flew through the air, "Get out of the way." Naruto scoffed and stepped directly in his path of flight, "You get out of the way." Naruto threw a roundhouse kick that caught him right in the face and tossed him aside. "Now can we please get on with the fight already? I haven't beat anybody up in a good long time. I call the entire crew." He looked at the men standing up from the wrecked building, well, whoever's left of the crew. Buggy, the man identified earlier and Buggy's second mate, hopped on a unicycle and charged Luffy after drawing a sword. "I'll avenge the pain that you've caused my crew." However, Zoro stepped in the way and blocked with one of his own swords. "If it's swords, I'm all for it." Luffy looked at the bleeding bandages on Zoro's body. "Look Zoro, I think it's better if I take it. Or maybe we can use the new guy over there." He pointed over to where Naruto had gleefully taken to thrashing the remainder of Buggy's crew with his bare hands. Naruto ducked a slash of a man's sword before grabbing his throat and slamming him into the ground. He turned and gave a thumbs up to the others. "Nah," Zoro called him, "he's got this guy." Naruto then returned to his originally scheduled pummeling. He grabbed two men and smashed them together. "This is so easy. I don't even need to use any jutsu on these guys. This is the crew of a feared pirate. I hope Buggy fights a hell of a lot better than the rest of these clods, or this is going to be cake." Nami watched him take apart an entire group of grown men, smiling like it was his birthday with a sweat drop on her head. Buggy took advantage of the disagreement and shot his flame breath at Zoro. Zoro dropped to his knees as his face was singed from the fire, and Buggy took advantage of the situation once more in order to deliver a kick with the point of his shoe to Zoro's wound in his side. Zoro cursed and writhed on the ground in pain as Buggy mocked him. "What's this? I didn't even kick you that hard. Did I?" Nami grit her teeth. "You dirty bastard." Aiming to the wounded area. "If you're not cheating, you're not trying." Naruto sounded off in the distance as he continued to crack skulls. Buggy stabbed his sword into the ground and released a blast of smoke. Zoro held his swords up. "It's just a cloud of dust, a stupid trick." On cue, Buggy emerged from the smoke and slashed at Zoro, who blocked with two of his swords. Buggy smirked and drew his foot back for another kick at Zoro's wounded area before punting him in the side. Zoro rolled over and cried out in pain. "What's this?" A grown man rolling around and crying is absolutely pathetic to watch. "You were a troublesome bunch at the start, but making an enemy of Buggy and his pirate fleet was a grave mistake. Diorano Zoro." Nami looked at Luffy, who was simply watching the fight. Fighting with that injury was too much from the start. "Why are you watching all silent and stone-faced? That guy's going to die." Zoro simply swatted him away when he got too close. "What an annoying guy. Do you really find tearing at my wound that much fun?" Zoro then proceeded to cut himself along his wound, much to the horror of everyone around. He placed a sword in his mouth. "My goal is to become the world's greatest swordsman. Is my condition enough for you now? Let me show you the difference in skill between us." Now holding a sword in both hands and one in his mouth, he smirked as he explained himself. "To anyone that calls himself a swordsman, I won't allow myself to lose to them even once." Naruto dusted off his hands as he dispatched the last of Buggy's men to the land of unconsciousness. He turned and saw Zoro preparing to combat Buggy and saw Luffy and Nami just watching along with Buggy. Naruto sighed as he made his way over to them. "Zoro, hurry up and kick his ass so we can beat Buggy. I need to figure out how I'm getting off of this island if you've all forgotten." Buggy sneered. "You asshole. Do you really think it will be that easy?" Nami looked over to where Naruto had just walked away from and whispered to Luffy, "Hey. Behind the destroyed pub there's a warehouse. Their treasure is over there and the map is probably still with Buggy. Since Naruto knocked all of them out, I think I'll go over, and after I acquire the treasure I'll make my escape, since whether you win the fight or not, it has nothing to do with me." She started walking away. "If you actually manage to get the map and fulfill your part, we can cooperate again." Naruto raised his hand and followed behind her as she walked over to the warehouse. "I'm going too." Nami turned as Naruto had followed her away from Luffy with a dull look on his face. Nami was somewhat surprised and suspicious of Naruto. "What? Why? Luffy and Zoro are still fighting. Don't pirates like you have some kind of code about running away or something?" "They seem to." Naruto palmed his face, once more for the benefit of those with no short-term memory. "I am not a pirate. Say it with me now. Uzumaki Naruto is not a pirate. I'm not a damn pirate. And anyway, if you don't like pirates, why the hell do you hang around with pirates?" Nami scoffed as they continued on, only turning back as they heard Buggy cry out in pain. Luffy must have finally started in on Buggy. "Oh well then." Nami continued on towards the treasure with Naruto in tow. Being bored enough to actually want to go back and see Luffy fight Buggy, Naruto decided to break the monotony. "So after you get the treasure, how the hell do you plan on getting out of this place? The only boats I saw were mine, Buggy's, and the little piece of crap that Zoro came in on." Nami turned and winked at him. "I have my ways. Why are you coming with me anyway?" Naruto shrugged, well I need money actually. It's not like I'm really broke, but I truly doubt that my currency would fly around these parts. Naruto pulled out his frog wallet and pulled out a wad of bills to show Nami. Nami turned and looked at his currency, you're right we don't use that. We use Beely instead. What place are you from that doesn't use Beely as its currency? Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly, I come from a place called the Elemental Nations. He saw Nami looking at him blankly, I heard the guys on the ship that I took to get here call it the final continent or something like that if that helps. Nami stared at him in shock, you're from the final continent. But that place was just discovered around 50 years ago. The world government doesn't even have any representatives there yet. Naruto's eye twitched, it's called the Elemental Nations. And it's not like the place was hard to find, it was just really far out of the way. People have been there for at least hundreds of years. And I doubt your world government will find it that easy to get its hooks into that place. It's really militarized already, it's just now coming into a period of peace after 100 years of on-again off-again periodic warfare. Nami blinked in surprise, really? How many countries are there in the Elemental Nations? Naruto thought for a moment, there are 5 that have the most significant power, and then there are countless little ones that have militaries of their own. I would say that there are about 20 countries in the Elemental Nations. Nami didn't know how to tell him so she just came out with it, Naruto. The world government has 170 countries from all over the world in it. Your home is probably the only place in the entire world that is untouched by them. But if you were able to catch a ship from there to the East Blue, then it might not be that far off. Naruto paled at hearing that information. He believed that the 4 great shinobi nations were powerful, he even believed that the other countries had tremendous ninja of their own, but against an allied army of over 170 nations, they would be crushed or assimilated. He could only hope that the world government kept their eyes away from the elemental nations, or that they would let them be, but with his knowledge of human nature, he knew that was a pipe dream at best. Naruto. Naruto. He was brought back to the regular plane of existence when Nami called out his name, I said what did you do there? You're a pretty tough guy. And on that thought why did you leave? Naruto looked at Nami and smirked, if I told you what I did for a living, you either wouldn't believe me or I would have to explain it. And you tell me why you left your home to come out on the big blue ocean all on your own. It seems pretty dangerous for a girl like you. Nami frowned but quickly covered it up with fake laughter, I'm not nearly as helpless as you think I am Naruto. Naruto chuckled, I'm sure you're not Nami-chan. I think we're here. Suddenly an explosion rang out behind them, signifying a house coming down. Luffy soon burst out of the debris, while Luffy and Buggy are really duking it out huh? Nami simply stared at them, how is it possible for such a fight to be taking place? I feel like I'm dreaming. She looked at Naruto who, other than being mildly interested in the fight, didn't show much surprise if any at all, why don't you look surprised by any of this? Naruto acknowledged her with a grunt, well I've been seeing stuff like this go on around me since I was a little kid. The elemental nations are full of people that can do remarkable things. I have to say that they're a few decades too late for me to be shocked by what they can do. There's no such thing as impossible in this world, that's what I've learned. Nami raised a delicate eyebrow at his choice of words, a few decades too late. Naruto frowned, bite my tongue, he pointed out at Luffy and Buggy's fight, oh look, Luffy's pissed. That got Nami's attention. She had never seen the boy really angry about anything the entire time since they had met. She saw that he was upset about Buggy nicking his hat with his strange powers to separate his body into segments. I thought he was the kind of guy that never got upset about anything. Naruto nodded, everyone has their triggers Nami-chan, no matter how many skill everyone has a breaking point. They saw Buggy begin to target Luffy's hat in order to rile him up further, just out of cruelty. He eventually impaled the hat on his blades. Naruto cringed and subconsciously clutched at something under his shirt, he could only imagine how angry Luffy was at losing his hat, it must have been truly precious to him. Buggy laughed as his hand flew back onto his wrist with Luffy's impaled hat on it, kuhahaha. What kind of treasure is this ragtag hat? Luffy outright sprinted at Buggy, that's the hat I swore myself to with Shanks. Buggy cast the hat off of his knives onto the ground, so that's why it looks so familiar. Me and that guy used to be on the same boat. We were comrades back when we were just trainees. Luffy lunged at Shanks with a punch, you say he was your comrade. Shanks was a great man. He nailed Buggy right in his body as his head separated from his body and reattached, forcing the clown pirate to the ground. Luffy pulled on Buggy's cheeks and angrily spoke to Buggy about Shanks. Naruto sighed, well it looks like Luffy's little temper tick is anything derogatory to do with either that hat or this Shanks person. Nami re-entered reality, I was so fascinated I kept on watching. I've got to get that treasure and get away. Naruto motioned towards the warehouse, I'm right behind you. When Nami turned to look at him he shrugged again, what? I'm bored and Luffy is fighting the only entertainment in town. Following you while you hoard all of this clown's loot could be entertaining, therefore I'm going with you. Naruto followed the girl and kicked open the door of the warehouse, gesturing inside for her to enter, mostly so he could adequately see what she was working with from behind. Not bad at all, he had to admit. Nami squealed loudly as she began hoarding everything she could into a sack. Naruto saw some bills sitting off to the side and decided to line his own pockets. Hey, everybody was doing it. Soon enough Nami filled her sack with as much as she could and strolled outside with a content look on her face that Naruto just had to chuckle at. Because of that, whoever touches my treasure I never leave them alive. Naruto exited the warehouse to find Buggy lunging his entire torso at Nami with his blades pointed at her. Did you think you could fool me, Nami? Put my treasure down so I can send you painfully to hell. I'm not giving you a single thing. Nami yelled at him as she cradled her sack of monetary gain. In the middle of his death lunge at Nami, Buggy stopped with a pained look on his face. Naruto looked to see Luffy had planted a foot painfully right between Buggy's legs as he had left the lower half of his body back when he attacked Nami. Naruto pointed at Luffy and laughed, if you're not cheating you're not trying. As Buggy's top half fell to the ground, Naruto cocked his fist back and plowed into Buggy's face, sending him flying back at Luffy. Don't try to kill girls that aren't hurting you, Buggy, that's not very honorable. Buggy mumbled to himself in pain, some kid dared to kick my bottom half and then some other punk got a sucker punch right in my face. Naruto looked at Luffy as the two nodded to each other. He then turned to Nami and tried to escort her away. Nami, let's get you out of here. As long as you have that treasure around here you're going to get chased by that lunatic. Let's drop it and get you out of here. Nami clutched the bag tightly. Why should I put my treasure down and run? I don't want to. Buggy growled from the ground, your treasure? Nami nodded, of course. Since I'm a pirate treasure thief and I just stole from a pirate, I'm telling you this treasure is mine. Naruto's sweat dropped. You know, pirates are known to steal from other pirates too when the opportunity arises. How are you yourself not a pirate again? Buggy flipped out from the ground where he lay. What kind of dumb shit is that? Do you think that if you steal it it's yours? How the hell were you brought up? Naruto grinned at him, apparently remarkably close to the way that I was. I'm still not a damn pirate though. Nami laughed, a lecture from a bad guy. Enough of that nonsense. She stuck her tongue out in a pouty manner. I don't think I've done anything bad enough to be lectured by a pirate. Naruto laughed out loud at that. Who are you people? You guys are awesome. Where did you all come from? Buggy growled and split his body into multiple pieces, sending them at Nami. Bara Bara Festival, Chop Chop Festival. He surrounded Nami with his body parts and laughed, see if you can protect her now. Luffy grabbed a foot that Buggy left behind and started tickling it, forcing him to stop his movements in order to laugh. Luffy did all kinds of things to his foot, smashing the toes into the ground, pinching the skin, all kind of things until Buggy yelled at him. Nami saw an opening and swung her bag at him, but it was caught by his disembodied hands. The two started a tug of war over the bag while Buggy tried to sneak some blades on her from behind. Naruto narrowed his eyes at this and rushed in with a swirling ball of blue energy in his hand. Alright Buggy, I thought I told you. He jumped into the air and drove the ball into Buggy's torso. Leave women alone. Rasengan, spiraling sphere. Naruto's attack drove deep into Buggy before it sent him flying off into the side of a building. Naruto sighed and looked back at Nami. Are you okay, Nami-chan? Nami blinked blankly and nodded, yeah. Thank you, Naruto. Luffy ran up to Naruto with shining eyes that scared the blonde slightly. That was so cool. How did you do that? Can you teach me how to do that? What was that? Naruto was feeling uncomfortable but answered all of his questions. Thanks, I channeled my body's energy called chakra to use it. It's kind of something personal, so sorry I can't, and I call it Rasengan. He then reached into his own coat pockets. Oh, you wanted this, right? Naruto said, handing off a map. I took it from him when I hit him with that last attack. Luffy grabbed the map and celebrated. Alright. I've finally got the Grand Line map. Wait, you brats. They all turned to see Buggy with blood coming from his mouth, a mark carved into his torso in the shape of a spiral, and his limbs off of his body. I'll kill you all once and for all. He called for his body parts to return, but only ended up getting his hands and feet. Nami stood on a pile of body parts, looking for these. Buggy's eyes bulged out of his head. AHH. My body parts. Luffy gleefully shot both of his hands backwards. A thief can do some cool things sometimes. Let me handle the rest. Get lost, Buggy. Luffy shot both arms forward and punched Buggy with both hands. Gomu Gomu no Bazooka, Gum Gum Bazooka. The attack sent the clown-themed pirate flying into the distance. Naruto whistled as he saw Buggy disappear into a dot. Damn, Luffy. How hard did you hit him? Luffy looked at Nami. You're going to join my crew now, right? Nami smiled as she tried to heft her large bag of treasure. I'm just working with you while it serves my purpose, remember that. I'll do it for now because it seems like I'll make quite a bit of cash with you guys. She rubbed the bag to her cheek affectionately. This much treasure should be worth at least 10 million Beely. Buggy said that all of his stuff was high quality. Naruto walked around and observed the damage to the village as Nami and Luffy spoke about the treasure. Naruto smirked at all of the wrecked buildings. It looks like I'm going to be doing a lot of collateral damage again. Oh well, 100 years was far too long to go without causing catastrophic property damage. Naruto walked over to Zoro and sweat dropped as he heard the man snoring. Naruto kicked Zoro to awaken him. "Oi, wake up. The fights are over, you and Luffy won." Zoro stirred and looked up at the blonde. Did he get the map? Naruto nodded. Yeah, Nami also stole a ludicrous amount of treasure from Buggy and Luffy sent him flying. You should have seen it, it was hilarious. Zoro grunted. Ugh, I don't think I can stand yet. Naruto rolled his eyes and hefted the man up on his back. Don't bleed all over my coat. Let's go. Luffy was over by the still fallen chief of the village. Naruto turned and saw a mass of villagers coming, his danger senses tingling. Oh crap, I don't like this at all. What happened here? It's definitely the work of those pirates. Luffy raised his hand. Hey, I did that to the chief. Naruto palmed his face. Why would you tell them that, Luffy? There was no need whatsoever for them to know that. Nami glared at him. Why did you tell them that kind of thing on purpose? Luffy was confused. You guys saw me do it, right? Naruto walked over to them with Zoro on his back. Luffy means well, but he just does not have the brain capacity for more complex thoughts other than Luffy smash. How dare you do this to our chief? Who the hell are you? The pirates. Luffy grinned and shouted, we are pirates. So you are. The villagers all brandished weapons at the group. Naruto waved his hands out in front of him while Nami yelled at Luffy, whoa. Wait. Hold on for just one freaking minute here. He pointed at himself, this guy. Not a pirate. Take note for posterity. Not a pirate. Damn it. He pointed at Zoro who was laughing his ass off on Naruto's back. This gimp here, well, he did say he was Luffy's friend, so I guess he's technically a pirate. But. He pointed at Nami before he dropped his finger lamely. Alright, she says she's not a pirate, but she apparently travels the seas and steals stuff. That's like a qualification for a pirate, even if she says she isn't, so again, technically, she's a pirate too. Ignoring Nami's squawk of indignation, he then pointed to a grinning Luffy and paused before waving it off as a lost cause. Oh never mind, this idiot just told you he was a damned pirate. But me, I'm not a pirate, so don't kill me, I'm just passing through. Bet them. Luffy took off running. Let's run away. Naruto rolled his eyes as he and Nami followed. No shit, Luffy. No, we should stay back there with the rabid people with sharp pointy weapons and lack of reasonable deductive skills. He finished sarcastically. Luffy grinned. This is a good village. No matter what excuse we give them, they'll still be mad at us. All for their chief. Naruto grunted. Yeah, but they really would have come in handy a half an hour ago instead of now when the fight is over and Zoro is dead weight on my back. They cut through an alley where Xiaoshu stood to block the villagers from continuing to pursue. Despite the villagers trying to reason with the dog to move, he blocked the pirate group's retreat. Eventually they came to the docks where next to Luffy and Zoro's piece of crap tub in the water stood a boat that was actually respectable. Luffy looked at Nami. Wow, is this your ship? She shook her head. No, I stole it from some stupid pirates. 3 of the pirates Nami tricked for the boat rose up into view. We knew you'd come back, boat thief. If we just waited here long enough. He was cut off by Naruto jumping on board and pummeling all 3 after unceremoniously dumping Zoro on the deck. Whatever, you wimps. Blah, blah, blah. Wasting my time. He turned to Luffy and Nami. Get your asses on board now, unless you want the killer lynch mob of unreasonable people to catch up and violate us horribly. The 3 beaten up pirates stood up with bruises and swelled lips. Who do you think you are, kid? Why the hell did you drop me, Naruto? The pirates turned to face the displeased face of Verano Zoro. Upon seeing his face, they jumped into the water and swam away frantically. Naruto shrugged and unhooked the boat from the dock as Nami and Luffy jumped on board. Luffy unfurled the sail. Alright, let's go. Naruto made a few hand seals as the wind picked up and allowed the ship to move faster with a boost. As they pulled off, he looked up. Hey, that looks like Buggy's emblem on the flag. Nami shrugged. I stole it from his pirates. I'll change it later. Stop right there. They turned towards the dock to see the chief standing there. I still have something to say to all of you. They all listened intently for his words. I'm sorry. I owe you all. The kids all grinned at him as Luffy yelled back, don't worry about it. Just live happy lives. Nami looked around the ship. Luffy, where's the other bag? I gave you half of it. Luffy didn't bat an eye. I left it in the village. Nami snapped. You left it? I gave you half of it. That's 5 million Beely, that was my treasure. Luffy shrugged. Well yeah, but since the village was half destroyed, I thought it would take some money to repair it. Naruto nodded sagely. Yeah, besides. Luffy did do a lot of the damage either directly or indirectly himself. He then got a tick mark on his head. Oh man. I had a kick-ass ship and now I'm in this. I fought for and stole that first one fair and square and now I'm in this heap. Naruto looked up with anime tears. Nami was choking Luffy and trying to push him into the water. If you ever do that again, you're dead, do you hear me? Zoro was still laughing like it was the funniest thing in the world. Naruto stopped crying and looked at Nami and Luffy in amusement. Well, at least this is looking to be something interesting. I think I'll stick with these guys for a while. Luffy yelled out, alright crew. To the next island and adventure. Naruto's annoyed voice rang out across the ocean, I'm not a damn pirate. Chapter 2. It's not lying, it's distorting reality. We need to plan things more. Naruto smirked as he heard Nami try once more to get Luffy and Zoro to do something other than just sit around, sleep, yell out in the middle of nowhere, or just all around do nothing useful. He would have included himself with the other two as someone that partook in the festivities that were aforementioned, but seeing as how Naruto didn't call himself one of the crew, he could say that about them and not himself, therefore freeing up his conscience to do all of jack shit when Nami brought these things to him. Though Nami said that she wasn't a part of the crew, she would claim up and down that they were simply partners if anything, but the way she was trying to take the lead here, it was clear that whether she admitted it or not, she was a member of the crew. Luffy looked at her strangely as he sat at the tip of the ship. What do you mean, Nami? She sighed, are we really going to go to the Grand Line like this? Luffy kept his confused look until the thought hit him, oh. That's right, even though Uncle Cabbage gave us plenty of fruits, we don't have any meat on this ship. Naruto snickered as Nami yelled that it wasn't about the food supplies. Uncle Cabbage was the name that Luffy gave to a strange man named Gaiman, whom they had all met on a deserted island a few days ago. Naruto got a good 8 silent chuckles off of the man's appearance, a man with a massive green afro and a body compressed into a treasure chest, but he really felt for the guy when he heard his story. Anyway, after they had befriended Gaiman, or Uncle Cabbage, he had allowed them to take some fruits from the island in order to stay alive while at sea. Naruto had to admit though that Luffy had a point. He wanted some meat too. What he wouldn't give for some miso ramen at the moment. Anyway, Naruto had tuned out their conversation as he was sure he would hear it again and again before he was done traveling with these guys. He thought more towards what he thought about these people. Luffy was well, Luffy. Naruto would go out on a limb and call Luffy stupid, but he would just be calling a past version of himself stupid in the process. Although he would swear to himself that he was never as thick in the head as Luffy was. Naruto would call himself ignorant, Luffy was just dumb. Dumb, but Naruto liked the guy. He was simple, not unpredictable or unstable. You knew what you were going to get with Luffy, and that's just how he wanted it. He was straightforward, friendly, oddly charismatic, and absurdly strong, stronger than anyone else Naruto had met thus far anyway. He reminded Naruto a lot of himself actually. Zoro was lazy, lazy as all hell. Not as lazy as Naruto's old buddy Shikamaru, as when he wasn't found sleeping, he found Zoro training with weights, however it was evident that the swordsman liked to multitask, as he had found him lifting weights and sleeping at the same time. That kind of thing eerily reminded him of Rock Lee back when he was in Konoha. Other than that, Zoro was a pretty nice guy. He liked to drink as far as Naruto could tell, as he had heard him mumbling about a lack of sake on the ship since leaving Orange Town, and that wasn't a bad thing either. He had an intimidating outer appearance at first, but Naruto found him to be a very nice guy, also very loyal as he told Naruto that prior to swearing allegiance to Luffy, he hunted pirates. Naruto figured that he had one hell of a goal, to be the greatest swordsman in the world. Naruto knew some pretty amazing sword users in his day, but after beginning to realize just how big the world was when he looked at one of Nami's maps and didn't even see the elemental nations on it, he started to realize that Zoro had one hell of a climb ahead of him. Nami was kind of strange to Naruto. She was definitely hiding something as far as he could see. On one hand, she claimed she wasn't a part of the crew and tried to identify their relationship as business partners or even an alliance, but she took an active interest in their well-being, even his, and he wasn't even a part of the crew himself. She tried to make the others realize what a big deal their journey was and how much danger they really could have been in at certain times. It took a little prying and pestering, but eventually he was able to ascertain Nami's dream in life. She wanted to draw a complete map of the world, and Naruto promised her that he would help her with that by taking her to the elemental nations to make her one of the few people that have actually been able to mark it accurately on any maps. This drew a blush from the girl that elicited a laugh from the blonde immortal. Well, he was lost and thought he found that they had landed somewhere. What? He looked around at the island they had stopped at and yawned. Where are we? Somewhere that actually has a town this time. Nami nodded, yep, we followed the map and it says that there's a village on this island, so let's get going. Naruto nodded and smacked the sleeping Zoro to wake him up. Wake up, sword boy. We're going into town. Zoro yawned and jumped off of the boat. It's been a while since I've stood on solid land. Naruto fought the urge to roll his eyes. It wouldn't have been so long, but your ass is always asleep. Zoro waved him off. By the way, I've just noticed. He pointed up at a ridge. What are those guys doing there? There were 3 little kids and a teenager staring at them. The 3 kids had hair that looked respectively like an onion, a carrot, and a pepper. The teen had a long nose, black curly hair that was covered by a yellow plaid bandana with goggles over them. He also had on brown overalls and a white sash. Upon being discovered, the little kids ran away, leaving the teen by himself. He shouted at them, telling them to come back, but they were long gone. Turning back to the recently landed group, he took up an easy stance. I am the great pirate fleet leader, Usopp, who is in charge of security in this village. I'm also known as Captain Usopp. He took on a confident look. It's best if you don't try to attack this village, because my 80 million men will destroy you. Naruto's mouth quirked in amusement. If you have 80 million people on this little island, then you should be trying to get your own ass out of here, instead of trying to keep us out. I call bullshit. Usopp panicked. Wah. I've been found out. Nami sweat dropped. It didn't help that you just told us. Usopp despaired even more. Arg. I can't believe I said that. Luffy seemed pretty entertained by this guy. You're pretty funny, you know that. Usopp straightened up at that. Hey, don't underestimate me. I am a man with high self-esteem. Everyone calls me the Honorable Usopp. Naruto rolled his eyes. Sure they do. He moved past Luffy's crew and Usopp. Where did those kids go? Did they run back to their town? I'm hungry. Does this place have ramen by any chance? No. Naruto had tears in his eyes as he read the menu at a small tavern in Syrup Village. No ramen. How can there be no ramen anywhere? This isn't funny anymore. I need my fix. He was for the most part ignored as Usopp told them about where they could get a ship. Naruto perked up. Oh, so that's what you guys ended up talking about back on the boat. Luffy grinned at him. Yep. Every pirate crew needs an awesome pirate ship. And with us on it, it has to be the coolest ship on the seas. Naruto sighed and cracked a small smile at Luffy's enthusiasm. He may not be very smart, but damn if the guy wasn't enthusiastic. So that's the plan for you guys. You're going to go and hit up that mansion this guy is telling us about and see if you can get a ship. Usopp nodded. It's the only place in the village you can get a ship. It's not very big, but it's not really small either. It belongs to the owner of the mansion on the hill. But she's really a sick young girl that's always bedridden. Nami looked stunned. She's sick. Then how is she the owner? Luffy and Zoro weren't even listening at this point as they both wanted more meat and sake, respectively. Usopp Ten explained how the girl living in the mansion was left everything by her parents when they died of sicknesses of their own and how she was actually very lonely. Nami sighed after hearing the story. Alright, never mind, we'll go searching for a ship somewhere else then. Naruto grinned at her. We Nami-chan. For someone not on the crew, or so she says, you sure don't act like it. Nami glared at him. And what am I supposed to act like then? A lazy ass like you? A nod and smirk was her answer. That's precisely what you should act like. Usopp noticed something. Oh, earlier you guys said you were looking for companions. Is that right? Luffy finished off another plate of food and looked over at Usopp. That's right. Is there somebody that actually wants to be our companion? Usopp pointed to himself. Let me be the captain and I'll join you. Naruto let out a bark of laughter, while Luffy and Nami simply looked away and spoke simultaneously. Never mind. Usopp's loud response to being so readily dismissed added fuel to Naruto's humor flame. Eventually, after looking out of the window, Usopp excused himself, saying that it was that time again and left Luffy, Zoro, Nami, and Naruto to their own devices inside of the tavern. Naruto looked out the window himself and took note of the environment. Wow, this is a really peaceful village. I don't think I've seen an actual functioning village that runs like this place in a long time, if I ever have. It's like nothing ever happens here. Nami leaned back in her seat and stretched. I know what you mean. This place kind of makes you almost want to fall asleep just by walking through it. It's such a cozy place. Naruto nodded. Yeah, nothing like where I came from, that's for sure. This got everyone's attention. Luffy swallowed his food and spoke what was on everyone's mind. So Naruto, where are you from anyway? You don't look like any East Blue person I've ever met. Naruto chuckled. That's because I'm not really from the East Blue, Luffy. I'm from somewhere off of the map. It's actually so far south you'd think you'd have sailed around the world to reach it. It's also really easy to miss if you don't know where it is or you're a crappy navigator. Barely anyone from the rest of the world has been there. Luffy looked excited. Wow. This place sounds really mysterious. He then registered that Naruto said far south. You're from the South Pole. Naruto face faulted but picked him up with a smile, shaking his head. Honestly, now that I think about it, it is a pretty weird place, but being out here and seeing some of the stuff I have so far, it's not that much stranger than being out on the ocean. But my village, it was actually pretty big. There were tons of people in it and they were all busy all of the time. Our military was pretty much the most important job in the village. The most respected, influential, and powerful people were a part of our military. Zoro looked at Naruto, so you had Marines stationed there? Naruto laughed, oh no, not at all. We were ninja. Every major nation had its own force of ninja, and they fought on and off all the time, it was really very irksome to think about. Nami looked at Naruto with an appraising eye, so what did you do as a ninja, Naruto? Naruto shrugged, now was as good a time as any to tell them, a little of everything. From menial chores, to escorts, to sabotage, to flat-out assassination and kidnapping. If our leader thought it was the right thing for us to take, he would accept the mission and assign it. You basically lived your entire life in that system, the only real way out was death or retirement, and not a lot of people lived long enough to retire. Zoro was somewhat suspicious after hearing that, it sounds like you were a ninja. A fairly good one too if the way you talk has any initiation. Naruto nodded, so how did you end up getting out of there? Naruto looked at him wistfully, that is a story for another time I suppose. The sound of doors slamming open alerted them all to someone entering the tavern, Usopp pirate group is here. The three little kids from when they landed had shown up with wooden swords drawn. They all just looked at the kids in confusion, what the hell? They looked around for Usopp, who had led them there, hey, where's the captain? You don't think he was eaten up, do you? Naruto palmed his face while Nami laughed at the little kids, what are you munchkins babbling about? Who ate who? And stop yelling, we're inside, don't you know? What did you do to our captain, Usopp? Give us back our captain, you pirates. Naruto's eye twitched as he looked at them all, for the love of all things Ramen and Ramen related, why is it that all of you people keep calling me a damn pirate? He gestured to himself, do I look like a pirate? No. Do I act like a pirate? No. All I am is just some guy that got on a boat with the wrong flag on it. Does that make me a pirate? The kids were a little taken back by his outburst, what did you do to the captain? Naruto slumped in his seat in defeat, asked the guy with the hat. Luffy abruptly stood up and patted his belly, aw man. What a delicious meat. Meat? The kids suddenly jumped to another conclusion, he ate the captain. Naruto snorted in amusement, ah, I forgot how fun it was to pick on little kids sometimes. Does that make me a bad person? Nah, I'm just bored. Zoro chuckled off to the side as the kids turned their attention to him, tell us what you did. Zoro smirked at them, nothing really, we just ate him. He finished darkly. The kids stared at Nami in fear, what are you all looking at me for? She snapped at them until they passed out before turning to Zoro, why did you tell them those weird things? Naruto got a few laughs off of the kids' mortified stony expressions, oh calm yourself down Nami-chan, it's just some good old-fashioned family fun. They'll wake up in like 30 seconds and forget that all of this just happened. After waking the kids up and explaining what Usopp had said they all understood, oh, so it was time for him to go to the mansion again. Luffy was curious, why does he go all the way up there? The tell eyes. Luffy sweat dropped, isn't that supposed to be a bad thing to do? It's not really such a bad thing. It's actually very good. Naruto snickered from his seat, seriously what is it with these people? Is everyone he meets out here going to be this goofy regularly? They then explained how Usopp went to tell stories to the girl that was stuck inside of the mansion due to her sickness. Nami nodded in understanding, so in order to help keep her spirits up, he's been going for a year to amuse her with made-up stories. The kids all nodded with huge grins on their faces, yup. I like his nosiness. I like the captain's cowardice. I like his lies. Naruto hit the table in humor as Zoro sweat dropped, what kind of strong points are those? Luffy then stood up and shouted that if he was making her feel better, then they would go and ask for a ship. Despite trying to tell him that such an approach really wasn't the best way to get anything done, they all ended up at the mansion and watched Luffy climb over the gate keeping them out. Having no other options as they really couldn't let the idiot go off on his own, they all climbed over the fence except the little kids. Naruto noticed this, hey, can't you guys get over? They all shook their heads, no, Captain Usopp was always the one to make sure we stayed outside. Naruto frowned and picked all of them up before vaulting over the fence with one jump, landing on the other side. The kids were stunned as he let them go, whoa. How did you do that? Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly, a lot of practice. He pointed over to where Luffy was going, finding Usopp sitting by a tree talking inside the building. By the time they had gotten over there Luffy had already asked for a ship. Of course this was cut short, what are you doing here? You can't just barge into the mansion like this. Usopp turned away with a sour look on his face, ugh, the butler again. The blonde girl in the window tried to save everyone some face, listen Clahador these people are. You don't have to explain Oju-sama I will ask you about it later. He cut her off, the rest of you, please get out. Or is there something you need to say? Luffy smiled at him, I want a ship. No way. The dismissal left Luffy rejected and in need of consoling from Zoro. Clahador turned his attention to Usopp, you're Usopp-kun. I've heard some rumors about you. The villagers talk about you all the time. The guard said you were lurking outside of the gates, what do you want here? Usopp tried to come up with some lie about mole rats, but Clahador shot it down. I can see that you lie very well. I've heard about your father too. You're the son of a filthy pirate, so I'm not surprised you've turned out this way, but you had better stay away from Kaido-sama. This got everyone else's attention. His dad was a pirate. Usopp bristled at the slight against his father, however. Did you say filthy? Clahador adjusted his glasses with the palm of his hand. You and the Oju-sama belong to totally different worlds. This guy was really starting to rub Naruto the wrong way. He was acting like a superior douche, telling people to know their place. Is it money that you're looking for? Name your price. You finally had enough of this. That's enough. Clahador apologized to Usopp-san at once. He simply gestured at Usopp as if he were less than him. There is no need for me to apologize to this uncivilized person. I'm just telling the truth. I feel sorry for you. You hate your father, don't you? Because he's a dumb treasure hunter that deserted his family and his village. Usopp clenched his fists. He'd better hit this guy already because Naruto was fixing to haul off and do it himself. I won't let you say another bad thing about my father. Clahador chuckled. You're not very smart, are you? You should have just lied like usual. You could have said that he was a traveling merchant or that he and you were not blood related. Shut up. Usopp had had enough and finally punched the bespectacled butler in the face. Naruto smirked. It took him long enough to do something about it. The butler held his face on the ground, so violent, like father like son. Shut up. Usopp cut him off. I'm proud that my dad was a pirate. I'm proud that he was a brave warrior of the sea. I may like to lie, but I'm not ashamed of having a pirate's blood flow in me. I don't need to pretend that I'm not. Clahador continued to insult Usopp and his father, saying that he only spent time with Kaya for her money. Naruto had tuned out the conversation at this point and started focusing on Clahador. This guy wasn't just some random butler. No butler would take a punch like that and keep running their mouth. Hell, most butlers would have stopped speaking after the first time their master told them to stop. The way the guy adjusted his glasses, that was totally weird, such an unnecessary gesture to use the palm instead of the fingers. He stopped pondering as he heard Usopp say he was never coming back. That was a lie. There was no way he was going to just leave that girl alone with that asshole of a butler by herself. Luffy was being held back by Zoro from going over and cleaning the guy's clock until he yelled for everyone to get out. After some apprehension, they all left the premises except for Naruto, who simply stood in place and stared at Clahador. The butler adjusted his glasses once more, getting a small tick from Naruto's eyes as he watched him do it. I told you and your ragamuffin friends to vacate the area. Naruto simply didn't respond and stayed staring, the two as still as statues. He finally turned and walked away. Don't ever speak to me like that ever again. I'm not Usopp and I'm not Luffy. I have absolutely no problems showing you your place. I've seen things that you couldn't even imagine and I've done things that you couldn't even comprehend. I'm not some random hood, you'd best keep that in mind. Clahador understood. Naruto didn't let him answer as he jumped back over the gate and left. Something about that Clahador just pissed him off. Maybe it was the casual dismissal of people he viewed under him. Maybe it was the way he walked as if he were better than him. Yeah, right, he's better than Naruto, he's a damn butler. Maybe it just was the way he adjusted his glasses, because that crap was irritating to look at. Naruto was broken from his personal thoughts once more as he spied an odd sight coming his way. A man in a long blue coat, blue hat, heart-shaped sunglasses and a strange beard that was actually a mushroom at closer glance was walking backwards down the road. Naruto stopped walking himself to watch the strange man pass him by until he too came to a stop. The man looked at Naruto, then at the mansion Naruto had come from, then at the mansion again. Naruto raised an eyebrow at the strange man. Can I help you with something, or are you just going to keep looking back and forth at me because you're weirding me out? The man focused fully on Naruto. Now why am I weird? I'm just a simple hypnotist. What brings you out to these parts, brother? Naruto felt something within him tell him to ignore this man and move along, but he was too damn curious to do so. I'm just passing through. The man pulled out a ring on a rope and began to swing it in front of Naruto. Well, then allow me to show you one of my tricks then. When I say 1, 2, Django, you will be very sleepy, understand? 1, 2. Naruto tried to back off from the man. I don't think that's really necessary. Django. After that, Naruto saw nothing but darkness. Later that night. Wake up, Naruto. A kick to the side was Naruto's wake-up call that evening as he opened his eyes to find Luffy, Usopp, Nami, and Zoro standing over him. Naruto sat up with a yawn. What going on, you guys? Why am I in the middle of the road? His mind filled with recollection of what happened. Oh damn it, that hypnotist guy. Django. Usopp simply said. Naruto blinked. What? You guys met him too? He didn't pull his hypnotizing crap on you, did he? Luffy grinned. He got me with it too. He made me fall off of a cliff while I was sleeping. Naruto sweat dropped. Of course he did, Luffy. Why am I not surprised? He then looked at the serious faces that everyone else had. What's with those looks? You'd think someone was coming to burn the town to the ground tomorrow or something. When all he got in response was awkward silence, his eyes widened. No way, really. Naruto looked at Usopp. So what's going to happen? Do you know who's coming? What their plan is? Anything like that at all? Usopp gritted his teeth. It's that bastard Clahador. He's really Captain Kuro of the Black Cat Pirates. He'll have his crew come tomorrow with a plan to sack the town and kill Kaya to get her money for himself. Naruto bared his teeth. So I actually get to tear a piece out of that bastard, do I? Naruto looked at the rest of them intently. I get Kuro. No arguments, no trying to pull rank on me, Luffy. I'm not on your crew, I'm not a pirate, that guy just rubs me the wrong way and now I actually have an excuse to beat the crap out of him. I'm taking it. Naruto stood up. Now how are we getting ready for this? They brought Naruto to a sloped path surrounded by cliffs by the shore that they had coated with oil so that the attacking pirates couldn't climb. It was dangerous because the others could slip down it, but Naruto wasn't concerned about himself. If he used the water walking exercise he could operate just fine, and you're all sure that this is where they're attacking from? Usopp nodded. This is main path to the village. If they want to get there this is the path they have to take. Naruto looked around as the sun began to rise. I'm going to stay hidden for the time being. If you all need help I'll jump in, but for now too many of us crowding the pass could be a bad thing. Usopp laughed. Sure, leave the crazy ideas and the shooting to me. Naruto laughed to himself and hid himself along the foliage of the sides of the pass to wait it out. After a while he wondered where they were until he heard Nami say that she had heard something from the north. Naruto cursed to himself and took off through the woods to reach the other side of the island. Somehow Usopp beat Naruto to the other slope, but he chalked it up to the adrenaline and the fact that he was the local. This is your last chance. If you don't give up now my crew of 1 billion will destroy you all. Naruto heard the enemy pirates grumbling about what a stupid lie that was and smirked to himself, making his favorite cross-hand seal, while he hid and subtly flooded the area with cage bunshin. Usopp tried to bribe them with the 5 million beely that was inside Nami's ship, but eventually they simply attacked. Naruto watched as Nami showed up and attempted to assist Usopp, who attempted to snipe them off at a distance with his slingshot until he was felled from a shot with a hammer. Naruto cursed to himself as he watched Nami get injured trying to defend him. Enough of this crap. The pirates turned to Naruto who was standing on the ledge. Hey Usopp, sorry I'm late, I had a little trouble getting your army together. Naruto snapped his fingers as his identical copies poured out of the forest and began attacking the shocked Black Cat pirates. Naruto picked Usopp up off of the ground and wiped him off as the long-range fighter was stunned by what he was seeing. What is that? Are you that strong? Naruto grinned at him. You bet. Now clean yourself up, we're just getting started. My clones vanish after one good hit to them, so whoever else is left standing will actually be competent. Naruto walked over to Nami and helped her to her feet as well. Are you alright Nami-chan? Nami nodded gratefully and steadied herself on her own legs. Why were you so late Naruto? Naruto gave her a winning smile. Well, since we were fighting the Black Cat pirates I figured that was super bad luck, so I took the long way here and doubled around a dozen times. Luffy and Zoro arrived at that moment with angry looks on their faces. Luffy pointed at Usopp. Usopp. Why didn't you tell me which way north was? Usopp sweat dropped. You took off running first, I thought you knew. Zoro pointed his sword at Nami. Thanks a lot Nami for leaving me at the bottom of the oily hill. You stepped on my head damn it. Nami waved it off. Someone had to get out of there didn't they? The other two fighters noticed that there were a half dozen Narutos currently beating the daylights out of the invading pirates, while there was one standing by Nami, making sure she was able to stand by herself. Luffy pointed at the display. Wow. You have a lot of twin brothers Naruto. Naruto laughed. They're not brothers Luffy, this is another of my techniques, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu. It lets me split that energy of mine that I told you about, chakra, evenly between them and lets them become fully tangible and real entities. They can do stuff like think and fight and all kinds of things. Naruto stopped talking and narrowed his eyes as he felt the last of his clones dispel. Turning around he saw Django swinging his ring on the rope that Naruto could now identify as a blade. Was he hypnotizing his crew? Just as he thought that the men that Naruto had pummeled jumped right back to their feet, invigorated. Nami yelled in surprise. What? Naruto-kun just beat them all senseless a second ago, and now they look as good as new. One of the pirates punched the cliffside and crumbled it. Zoro was in disbelief, they can destroy the entire cliff with one punch. Naruto sighed, great, now instead of fighting weaklings I have to fight a bunch of berserk weaklings. Usopp, Nami, get back. Zoro nodded, right, you guys get back. Me, Naruto, and Luffy will handle all of them. Right Luffy. Luffy. Luffy let out a loud yell forcing Naruto and Zoro to palm their foreheads. Oh great. He's hypnotized too. Luffy stormed down the hill at the mass of attacking pirates. Gomu Gomu no Gatling, Gum Gum Gatling gun. Luffy blasted his arms out in a flurry of rapid-fire fists that pounded away at the Black Cat pirates, knocking them all back, if not out, effortlessly. He then ran past their fallen bodies and grabbed their ship's helm. Naruto let out a high-pitched scream as he realized what was going to happen. Wait. Luffy, no. Don't destroy the ship. No. Luffy ripped off the helm of the ship and held it threateningly at the enemy pirates. He's going to use that thing to hit us. Captain, do something. Django quickly pulled up his ring. 1, 2, Django and you will be asleep. 1, 2, Django. Luffy fell asleep while holding the helm and fell backwards, dropping the helm on himself and a lot of the pirates. Nami sighed in relief with a smile, it looks like he finished all of them. Naruto let out tears of anguish, damn it Luffy don't destroy it. I was going to steal that after we were done kicking these guys' asses. That's just great, I can't fix that, I'm not that good. Now I'm stuck on that other boat with the rest of you. I want a ship. I want open space. I want elbow room. Hey Bucci, the ship's stern is gone. You're right, I wonder what happened to it. Heads turned at the sound of more people on the ship as two guys in cat-themed costumes jumped out and landed on the ground. One was a fat guy with a cat half mask covering his head and no shirt, the other was a skinny guy. Both had cat claws with blades on their fingers. Dango pointed at the group, Bucci, Shamu, no matter what we have to get out of here, as you can see there are some people blocking our exit from the slope. Can you take care of them for us? The two newcomers acted cowardly at fighting them all, namely Zoro who was out ahead of the rest. However when the skinny one trotted out hopelessly and got close enough to Zoro, he turned his killer instinct on and began to fight him head to head. In their initial clash Zoro ended up getting his swords taken by the skinny cat fighter Shamu. Give me my swords back. Zoro demanded. Shamu chuckled, oh, these. Before we fight I have to say that they're really obstructive. He threw the swords aside, leaving Zoro with one. Zoro lunged out swiftly and reached his swords before the skinny warrior drove his claws into his back when he grabbed for them. Upon pinning Zoro on the ground the fat brother, Bucci, jumped high into the air, killing technique cat pounce. Almost succeeding in driving both of his feet into Zoro's spin or skull, he cracked the ground with his landing. Zoro was actually terrible at one-sword techniques, thus the two brothers were able to overwhelm him and drive him back. Nami tried to get Zoro his sword but was stopped by Django who cut her shoulder. Naruto growled darkly and narrowed his eyes at Django as killing intent filled the area. Naruto stopped growling as he realized that it wasn't leaking from him, he had control of his own. Django was basically quivering, that feeling is. Captain Kuro Clahador was standing at the top of the pass, it is past dawn and my plan is still not complete. What the hell are you doing? Don't tell me you've been stopped by these rats. Say something Django. Django backed off slightly, well you said that the Usopp kid wouldn't cause us any trouble. Kuro laughed, yes I did, but the fact is that you all are simply weak. The brothers took offense to this and questioned Kuro's strength as he hadn't fought in 3 years, you're not our captain anymore. Before you kill us we'd better kill you first. They both attacked Kuro with their claws, but hit nothing but an afterimage. Kuro stood behind them with an extremely long pair of cat claws on his hands, you said you would kill who? As they turned to face him he had vanished again, hanging off of their shoulders like an old friend, however he had a blade at both of their throats, terrorizing them both, I feel my body resisting me a little bit. You're right, I'm not your captain anymore, I'm just someone who paid you to do a job, and if you find yourselves unable to accomplish it, I'll finish you myself. I find that these last 3 years have lowered my temper, so I'll give you 5 minutes to kill these people, and if you cannot I will kill you all myself. Nami took advantage of the confusion and kicked Zoro his swords. The newly inspired Nyaban brothers attacked Zoro once more who simply crossed his swords in a particular movement, Torigari, Tiger Hunt. Zoro's attack finished them in one move. He stood up and pointed at the Kuro, don't worry I'll beat the rest of you in just 5 minutes. Django hypnotized the still-living Bucci who had a crosscar across his belly and chest where Zoro cut him. Upon being hypnotized, the large cat-themed killer went berserk. Kuro tapped his foot impatiently, 3 minutes and I will kill all of you. Naruto glared at him and finally moved towards him, you know what? That might be more threatening to me if you weren't a damned butler and if you weren't so pathetically weak. What did I tell you yesterday team? I guess it's time for me to really show you your place. Naruto's hands were sunk into his pockets as he strode away from protecting Usopp and started walking towards Kuro. Clahador, stop everything. Kaya screamed from the top of the pass, I heard everything from Mary. Kuro pushed his glasses up on his face, so he's still alive. I thought I'd already finished him. Aya pleaded with him and tried to bribe him to leave the village as long as she gave him all of her money, but the man simply laughed at her proposal, you misunderstand Kaiô-sama. I want your money, but I also want a peaceful life. The villagers trusted me for 3 years, it became a part of my peaceful life. My plan will only succeed when I obtain your money and peace. Kaya pulled out a pistol upon understanding that he was here to kill her no matter what. And Kuro began to appeal to her sympathetic side. Do you remember that for the last 3 years we've been together every day? We went to town together, I took care of you while you were sick, we were happy and sad together. I've spent 3 years doing these inane things, everything I've done until today is to kill you. Usopp launched himself at Kuro to deliver a punch, but he was clocked coming in and was about to be shredded with his claws until a set of metal shuriken cut Kuro's body and cut him across his face. His crew had their jaws dropped, the captain's been hit. Naruto stood with 3 more shuriken spinning around his fingers. I've had enough of hearing you talk. Get up so I can kill you on your feet, dead man. You're not in my league. Kuro calmly stood up with blood coming down his face. So you're another of these ruffian pirates just like the other fools here. Django. I will kill this boy. You take care of Kyoji-sama. After you're done, kill her. Zoro tried to stop the hypnotist from getting past, but the berserk Buchi attacked him once more. Zoro ended up blocking him with his sword and foot. I already beat you once, I won't lose to you. He yelled, kicking him off. Naruto motioned to Usopp who was still on the ground as he kept his eyes on Kuro. Usopp. That guy is going to harm Kaya. Get up and stop him. Usopp tried moving but was still too wounded to do much. In his place he ordered the kids he had been playing with to take Kaya and get her somewhere safe. Naruto nodded, I guess that will do for now, but you still need to get up. I can beat Kuro, but this is your village, you need to defend it with your own 2 hands too. Usopp nodded from the ground and fired a shot at the departing Django from his slingshot, knocking him to the ground. It didn't keep him down as he got right back up and continued to chase. Usopp eventually staggered to his feet before he was attacked by Buchi. Buchi however was intercepted by Zoro and defeated for the final time. Zoro hoisted Usopp up on his shoulders. I'll take you to find them, you can't walk and I can't find my way around without getting lost. Kuro moved in front of them, and who says I'll let you leave? A foot planted itself in the side of his head, knocking him to the ground. Naruto landed on his feet with his arms crossed and a scowl on his face. Who the fuck cares what you say? I called you a dead man, and no one gives a rat's ass about what a dead fool like you has to say. Zoro took the opportunity to take off into the forest with Usopp. Kuro stood back up and seemingly vanished again, reappearing right behind Naruto and taking a swing at him with his claws. Naruto drew a kunai and blocked it over his shoulder. You should quit now and leave. Maybe then I won't kill you in the most humiliating way I can conjure. Kuro backed off from the clash. I want to know why you would risk your life protecting this pathetic village. Naruto chuckled, trust me, my life isn't in the least bit of jeopardy from you or your loser crew. I could kill you all in one move, but that would be overkill, and besides, Usopp wants this little battle here to remain a secret from the rest of the village, and who am I to go against such a simple request? However, I'm here to fight for 2 real reasons. 1, Luffy, Zoro, and Nami-chan are here, and I'm getting rather attached to these guys. Naruto pointed down at Nami who was trying to wake up Luffy and winked at her. Reason number 2, I just don't fucking like your face. Kuro lunged at Naruto with his claws. Die boy. Naruto started dodging the slashes of the claws effortlessly. Sigh dude, you're not as fast as you think you are. Why are you even doing this? She offered you the money, you could have taken it and left, and I probably would have let you leave since it was her choice. Kuro kept attacking, that's not good enough. This scheme is meant to erase Captain Kuro from the world once and for all. I am sick and tired of taking care of my idiot crew. Even though I achieved every pirate's dream of fame, it only brought me trouble I didn't want. That is why I killed my name 3 years ago. Naruto shook his head and socked Kuro in the face, knocking him backwards again. He gave Kuro a sickened glare, you damned coward. You wanted an easy way in life, and when it started getting tough and bothersome, you took a cheap way out. But that wasn't enough, no you got away, and you're still trying to turn tricks. You're scum. Kuro pulled himself to his feet. I have waited 3 years for this chance to happen, and a low-class pirate brat like you cannot stop me. He vanished from sight before reappearing on Naruto's left side to thrust his claws out at him. Naruto simply placed his hand out and caught his claws in one hand. First of all, I can stop you because like I told you from the start, you're weak and not even anywhere near my league. Second of all, I'm not a brat, not in way shape or form. And third of all, I'm not a goddamn pirate. Naruto broke the claws on Kuro's hand and backhanded him across the face, sending him flying down the hill. Nami stopped trying to wake Luffy in order to watch Naruto effortlessly dissect Kuro with not even an ounce of effort on his face. Naruto-kun, who or what are you? Where does a guy like you even come from? Kuro stood up with blood dripping from his head as his crew tried to encourage him to keep fighting. Shut up, I thought I said that I would kill you all, including Django, when my plan is complete. The crew tried reasoning with him, I never thought of letting you leave in the first place. If anyone knew that I was truly alive, I would be in trouble soon thereafter. Naruto shook his head once more in disgust, you really are an asshole. Using your men like disposable pawns, what kind of leader are you? Kuro laughed, that's what these pirates are. A kid like you doesn't know anything. He choked on his words when Naruto vanished and smashed him in the body with his knee. Naruto spoke coldly as Kuro was hunched over his knee, you're absolutely nothing. He picked up Kuro by his collar and threw him aside, get up. Get up and do your worst so that I can break you at your absolute best. I want to see the look on your face when you realize that you had no chance of winning here today. Kuro stood shakily and hunched his body somewhat, you want to see the power of a pirate that has fought in many battles and has survived and thrived. He's going to use the Shikushi. We're in the direct path, he'll kill us all. Naruto's lips quirked as he heard the crew begin to panic, well now you've got me interested. You may have fought and survived many battles, but I was literally born for combat and was raised around it. Nami had pulled Luffy's unconscious body onto the boat and she had attempted to loot the Black Cat pirate's ship, what? Did everyone stop? Suddenly crew members began appearing with slash marks on their bodies. Men were being eviscerated, having limbs cut off, all kinds of grievous slashing wounds. Even the walls were slashed. Naruto didn't blink as the sounds of the carnage rang out around him while men were dropping around him left and right. Nami blinked in horror as she watched the blood fly across the pass, how could someone do this to their own comrades? The low growl began to rip from Naruto's throat as he heard the cries of agony. Naruto shut his eyes and thrust his arm in a random direction as a shockwave passed by his body. In his grasp was the throat of Captain Kuro with his claws at his side. Naruto could feel the man's neck giving out under the pressure of his grip, you couldn't see a damn thing, and yet you massacred your own men just to get a decent shot at me. And the real kicker is you're not even that fast. I've fought guys faster than you, hell, I'm faster than you. Naruto opened his free hand to form a Rasengan in the palm of his hand and shoved it into Kuro's chest. Kuro screamed in agony as Naruto kept it low-powered enough to leave a permanent spiral mark without shredding his entrails. Naruto waited until Kuro passed out and threw him at his crew, take this piece of shit and leave this place. I don't want your ship. I don't want anything to do with that pathetic bastard whatsoever. Get off of this island or I will destroy you all. He finished in a warped and dark tone as traces of red flickered into his eyes. The crew scooped Kuro up and hightailed it back onto the boat to hastily escape. Naruto waited until the boat was sailing off into the distance before sitting down on the ground. Nami sat down next to them with a bag, so Luffy's still asleep huh? Heh, you steal some more stuff. Nami smiled at him and nodded, you must be exhausted after all of that. Naruto shook his head, not really Nami-chan, that was too easy for me to get tired. I'm just trying to calm down. I almost lost it listening to that team talk. Is your shoulder okay? Django cut you kind of badly. Yes, I'm fine, it was just a flesh wound really. Nami's smile dropped as she sat down next to him on the ground, I've never seen anyone fight like that in my entire life. It was almost scary, you didn't even do that clone thing that you tried at first. Naruto shrugged, he was weak. I've fought people that would have taken him apart like a mannequin. As fast as he thought he was moving in slow motion to me. I don't use my jutsu on weak people. Nami's sweat dropped, that was Captain Kuro. One of the most notorious and famous pirates in the East Blue. Naruto scratched his head, really? Well this region of the world is really weak then. Other than being fast that guy didn't have anything. Luffy could have smashed that guy if he didn't smash himself after getting hypnotized. Nami looked skeptical but accepted it as one of the strange boy's quirks, why did you let all of the pirates go if you could have beaten them? Naruto sighed, they were all just idiots that couldn't pick a decent leader. They were misled by a man that was willing to sacrifice all of them for his own selfish gain. Nami adjusted the bag in her lap, what are you talking about Naruto-kun? That's the way all pirates are. Naruto noticed that she called him Naruto-kun and filed that away for later thought, but for the time being, he gave her a dry look and simply pointed down at the boat where Luffy was sleeping. Nami laughed sheepishly, well I guess you and Luffy are the anomalies. Naruto smiled at her before a tick mark showed on his head, maybe so Nami-chan, but I'm not a damn pirate. What will it take to get my point across? One day after the battle with the Black Cat pirates they were found in the tavern that they had been frequenting by Kaya, who led them to the shore where they had just fought the day before. There happened to be a very pleasant surprise waiting for them. Nami clasped her hands together in a pleased fashion, it's a caravel. Naruto was much more vocal with his excitement however, as he ran up and hugged the side of the ship, sticking to it with chakra like a spider, oh thank Kami. Finally, elbow room. I spoiled myself when I started this little journey of mine. Oh how I've missed having a proper ship. The sight of the grown man hugging the ship like a lost family member caused sweat drops all around. Mary coughed into his hand and launched into an explanation, this ship was designed by me, it may look a little old. Its name is the Going Merry, it's a caravel ship with a rudder in the middle. He looked at the four people of whom he was speaking to, aren't you the people who defeated the Black Cat pirates? I thought there would be more of you. Luffy threw his hands into the air in celebration. Yes. You'll give this ship to us. Kaya laughed in amusement and nodded. The group began to pale as Mary tried explaining to Luffy how to steer the ship until Nami interjected, he doesn't understand that. You'd better explain it to me. Naruto appeared at her side with a sly look on his face. Well now. I thought you weren't a member of the crew, Nami. Why would you want to know how to run the ship? Nami stuttered for a moment before turning to Naruto, I just don't feel like being lost at sea. What about you? You're still coming on the ship too, aren't you? Naruto waved it off, yeah, but that's because this is the only ride out of here. I'm not going to actively take an interest in what's going on unless I want to, or whatever is happening is directly my problem. I'm just along for the ride, so to speak. He turned towards the ship to get a better look on it as a smirk crossed his face, though the company is quite pleasurable, I should say. Nami sputtered and blushed at how blunt he was being, but before she could call him on anything, a shout caught everyone's attention, somebody stop me. Usopp was rolling down the hill with an oversized pack on his back heading right for the ship. Luffy looked at him in interest, what's he doing? Naruto let out an unmanly shriek, Luffy. Stop him before he destroys the ship. I want my elbow room. Luffy stuck out his foot and planted it on Usopp's face to stop his momentum, much to the long-nosed teen's relief, thanks. Long story short, Usopp decided to go out and join the crew, thus leading to a celebration on board that led to Usopp painting the crew's emblem on the sail. Eventually, upon finding out Usopp's skill at using a cannon as well as a slingshot, Luffy drank down what was in his mug with a massive grin, alright. The crew has a captain, a swordsman, a navigator, a sharpshooter, and whatever the hell Naruto is. Naruto had taken up a spot in the common room away from the table, where everyone else was to lay about in the couch to relax a bit. I'm not on your crew, Luffy. I'm just here for the free ride and I help you out sometimes because I'm not a moocher. That does not a crew member make. I'm just some guy, like a drifter or something. Luffy pointed at Naruto, you're the crew's vagabond then. Naruto irritably snapped at Luffy, that's not a real crew position, Dumbus. Luffy looked confused, would resident ship's hobo be better then? Luffy didn't notice the killing intent starting to radiate from Naruto, while Zoro and Nami laughed at him. Show yourself. I'll kill all of you. A shout from on the deck ripped their attention away from the indoor festivities. Chapter 3. Anything for a pretty face, or two. Show yourself. I'll kill all of you. Luffy immediately made his way to the deck where a man with short black hair, sunglasses, a blue hoodie with a purple shirt underneath, and white pants was kicking things around on deck. Hey. Who are you? Upon hearing Luffy's voice, the man brandished a sword from his waist that looked like some kind of cleaver, it's none of your business to know who I am. He then lunged at Luffy and slashed at him, forcing Luffy to dodge. The attack took out the banister, remember that. Naruto sighed, if you're attacking the ship then yes it is our business who you are, you idiot. Nami and Usopp were watching inside through a window, there's only one guy out there. Zoro was sitting inside without caring, leave it to Luffy then. Naruto shrugged and went inside to sit down. Luffy could beat this guy up himself, and if Zoro didn't even care enough to get up and look, then he sure as hell didn't care. I've killed many pirates. An infamous pirate like you, the man lunged at Luffy with his sword once again, shouldn't dare to kill my buddy. Luffy was getting pissed off at getting accused of doing something he no inkling of doing, I don't know what you're talking about. Luffy jumped over the attack and grabbed the man's head, but stop destroying my ship. Luffy flipped over his back with his head in his grasp and threw him face first into a wall. The man passed out after peeling off of the wall and hitting the ground, I almost got him. After hearing the loud smash of the strange attacker's body hitting the wall, Zoro walked out, huh? Isn't that Johnny? What happened? Where's Yusaku? Johnny miraculously jumped right to his feet at the sight of Zoro and Nikki. Naruto walked back outside, Zoro, you know this guy. Apparently Johnny and his friend Yusaku, a man with strange headgear, a green trench coat with a black shirt underneath, and yellow plaid shorts, were bounty hunters that had worked with Zoro in the past. While they had been resting due to Yusaku's sickness at the island that Usopp shot their cannon at, it ended up getting blown up by the aforementioned cannon fire. Apparently, as alluded to by Nami, Yusaku had scurvy, and after being given vitamin C he would recover shortly. This drove home a point into the rest that they needed a chef for their crew. Joni recommended a floating restaurant 2 days from their location and gave Zoro information on a man named Hawkeyes that was thought to be in the area. It was a nice looking place called Barati, however they found a marine ship floating out nearby. A man with iron bolts attached to his knuckles noticed their presence, I've never seen that flag before. I am Lieutenant Fullbody, the Iron Fist of the Marines. Who is your captain? Luffy stepped up, I am, me, Luffy. I just finished my flag 2 days ago. Fullbody then noticed Johnny and Yusaku, oh I've seen you two before in some government office. You're the two shabby pirate hunters Yusaku and Johnny, right? You've been caught by these pirates. Johnny and Yusaku took offense to this and went to teach him a lesson, but were thrashed by him and thrown back onto the Going Merry. Full Body then took a woman from the ship and entered the restaurant claiming to be on vacation. Naruto kicked at their flattened bodies. "Kami, you guys suck. Am I going to see anyone in the East Blue that isn't a total wimp?" He asked Nami, but she was unresponsive as she had a firm glance on one of Johnny and Yusaku's wanted posters. It must have been angering her because her hands were shaking with the paper in her grip. "Hey. Danger." Yusa pointed out at the marine ship. "Those marines are pointing their cannons at us." Luffy jumped up and expanded his body to its balloon form to send the cannonball back, however he ended up sending it at the restaurant instead. Sending it crashing through the roof. Naruto palmed his face as the rest of the crew freaked out. Luffy started running around frantically. "Oh no. That could have killed somebody. What am I going to do?" Naruto shook his head as he saw people walking outside with chef's gear on. Naruto pushed Luffy off of the boat onto the floating restaurant. "Well then, Captain. Go and handle that for everyone then." Watching Luffy get carried inside by the chefs brought an amused smile to Naruto's face before he climbed up to the crow's nest and laid down. The others crowded below him when Yusa pointed at the restaurant. Naruto, was that really the best idea?" Naruto yawned and looked up at the clouds. "Hey, he's the captain, right? Well, the captain has to be responsible for stuff like that." Crashing could be heard from inside. "Yep, he'll be fine." Naruto shut his eyes and took to sleeping. Luffy ended up as a worker in the restaurant in order to pay off the damages he caused with the cannonball. He met Sanji, a blonde cook that he demanded be on his crew, but before that he had more pressing issues to take care of. For 2 days the crew had to stay at the restaurant to wait for Luffy. The others got their kicks by going inside and eating there while simultaneously messing with Luffy. Luffy was constantly chewed out and rotating jobs due to his complete inability to handle even the most mundane tasks, and aboard Naruto got his kicks by making Luffy's job that much harder by sneaking around and setting pranks for the rubber man as he went about his day. Eventually, after 2 days passed, Naruto was sick of the place. While Nami was able to get Sanji to give her food for free, everyone else had to pay, and Naruto didn't have much money in the first place, therefore he stopped going inside the restaurant and stayed on the ship to eat. He took to spending his time in the crow's nest, sleeping while the others went about their own business. One day, however, he woke up when he felt his body moving inside of the crow's nest. Getting up, he blinked in surprise when he found that the boat was moving. He saw Nami steering the ship, but no one else on deck. Figuring that everyone else was inside or something, Naruto used Shunshin no Jutsu, body flicker jutsu, to speed down behind her. "What's up, Nami-chan?" Nami screamed in surprise and turned to face Naruto like she had seen a ghost. "And Naruto, what are you doing here?" Naruto raised an eyebrow in confusion. "I was asleep in the crow's nest. That restaurant was boring as hell after I got sick of making Luffy mess things up. So where are we going now?" Nami got back on the wheel. "I'm going to Kami Island and Kokoyashi Village." Naruto smirked. "What about me, Nami-chan? What about the rest of the crew? What, am I a figment of your imagination?" Nami looked down. "Everyone else isn't here. I left them back at Barati." Naruto's jaw almost dropped at that admission from the orange-haired girl. "What? Is Luffy really in that much trouble that you had to take the ship? Why are we the only ones here? Couldn't someone else have come?" Nami flinched somewhat. "Well, you see, I kind of stole the ship." Naruto simply stared at her blankly. After a minute he spoke. "Alright then." Nami couldn't believe what she was hearing. "What?" Naruto walked over to the side and sat down leaning against the railing to get some more shut-eye. "Alright then. I told you all, I'm not a part of your crew, I'm along for the ride. The ship is moving, thus I am moving, therefore I am riding. It doesn't matter to me who's running the ship as long as the ship is running. So let's chit-chat. What's in Kokoyashi Village that has you stealing ships to get there?" "It's my home." She didn't bother hiding it. Nami believed that he really didn't care what she had done, he really was just there for the sake of being there. "Why did you even come with us in the first place? You don't seem to want to do well anything." Naruto sighed and cracked an eye to look at Nami. "Honestly, Nami, I've seen a lot of things. I don't think there are a whole lot of things that can surprise me anymore. I'm bored, very bored. I'm out on the ocean to find something to do, anything to occupy my time, because time is one thing that I have nothing but. Whether that anything is a purpose to live for, or a person to help, or someone powerful to fight, that's why I'm here." Nami frowned. "Why would you want to leave your home so badly? Was it that bad?" Naruto let out a laugh. "It's not that I hate my home. Quite the opposite actually, I love my village. But they didn't need me anymore. Ninja are fast becoming a relic in the elemental nations, Nami-chan. There was no more reason for someone like me to be there. I fought for my village, I lived for my village, but now they don't need me, so I left years ago to wander the land. Eventually I got tired of that too. I never realized how small that place was until I left. This world is huge. I know I can find something out here if I keep searching." He smiled at her, so what about you? Why leave your home and come all the way out here, then steal your friend's ship to get back? Nami got a somewhat dark look on her face, you'll see when we get there. Naruto's face turned serious at this. Nami had changed clothes now to a more revealing green top that revealed a tattoo on her right arm. Once again he decided not to press the issue because she was right, he would find out when they got there. And that was more than enough for him, he just hoped that whatever was happening to put such a look on Nami's pretty face was fixable and may be able to give him a decent fight too. They landed outside of Nami's home village in order to disembark and walked east on Kami Island silently, with Naruto following closely behind Nami, taking in the things that he saw. This is a really nice place. What could be going on here to make her so somber right now? Soon they came upon a gate walling off an area from the rest of the island by shore. Naruto had to blink as he pointed blankly at the massive building and structures behind the gate, just sitting pretty in clear view of anyone. How the hell did I miss this when we sailed over here? Nami kept her eyes on the place ahead of them, we didn't sail this way when we came here. It's not like it's hidden, it's out in the open to show that they don't fear repercussions from the Marines, although it helps that Arlong has them in his back pocket. Naruto nodded, so what do I call this monstrosity, who the fuck is Arlong, and why should I not kick his face in with my fist, as I am wont to do from the displeased look you have on your pretty little face. Nami simply stared at the gate as if she were preparing for something until they heard rapid little footsteps behind them. A little boy brandishing a short sword stopped in front of them pointing it at them. Naruto raised his eyebrow at the boy while Nami just looked at him coldly, get out of my way so I can kill Arlong. If you don't get out of my way I'll kill you too. Naruto gestured towards the boy, is this kid serious? The boy had tears running down his face, I said get out of my way. In the blink of an eye Nami whipped out her staff and cracked the kid in the side of the face, busting his mouth and sending him to the dirt before planting her foot on his chest. Naruto could see the strained grip she had on her staff, now that you understand just go back to your house. She dropped a stack of bills beside him, I'll give you my money, it should protect your life. Naruto simply gestured towards the fallen boy, figuring that this warranted some kind of explanation, however Nami just moved past him and entered the facility. Naruto shook his head and spared the boy one last glance, as he watched him pick himself up before he followed Nami inside. Naruto had to blink as everywhere he looked inside he saw human-fish hybrid people. What was Nami doing with these guys? They looked like they wanted to tear him apart simply for just being there, but him being with Nami kept them from acting, thus he stayed close to her for the time being, no need for a senseless fight yet. However this didn't keep him from throwing out an aura of come and try it as he gave the fishman a look of challenge. He could feel the tension rising by the time Nami reached the main building. There was a merman in a hat with a sawfish nose and long black hair going down his back sitting by himself on a patio. He wore an unbuttoned yellow tropical shirt, showing that he was very physically imposing, as well as brown shorts. The way he carried himself Naruto figured he was the boss of these mermen. He looked at Nami with a sharkish grin, so you're back. It's been a long time. Nami put a smile on her face, and Naruto now knew why it took so long for her to come inside. She had to paste that artificial smile on, because he could just feel the ire for this guy radiating off of her, you still have a very weak security system. The merman laughed, you think anyone would dare to go against me? Naruto blocked a snort, yeah because that little kid that was coming to fillet your ass shows just how much you're loved here. Of course he kept that little thought to himself for the time being. Nami was trying to keep up her act here, no need to blow it all himself. He motioned to the sack that Nami was carrying, how much did you get this time? Come now, don't leave me in suspense. Nami waved the sack in her hand, I got a pretty good amount, but I felt a little lonely this time. She gestured back at Naruto who smirked upon being introduced. The boss fish started laughing, where did you get that from? The person who loves to betray people like you? Nami smiled faintly, you think so Arlong? Arlong pointed at Naruto, you, filthy human, who are you and what are you doing in my territory with Nami? Naruto shrugged, Nami-chan stole the ship I was sleeping on to get here and I figured why not go along with her. I'm just along for the ride. Besides, she did say she was lonely, right? Naruto finished, throwing a sly grin in Nami's direction. Nami broke her character and started sputtering nonsense in Naruto's direction. Naruto smirked and sidled up to the girl, throwing an arm over her shoulder and pulling her close, Nami-chan, we can't keep this a secret for long. Just think about it, all that time alone together on the ship how we just stole away, leaving everyone else behind you can't fight it girl. Nami finally got him off of her and cracked him in the head, or so she thought before he vanished in a puff of smoke, a log dropping to the ground in his place. Now that wasn't nice Nami-chan, and after all I did for you. Naruto said from the seat next to Arlong on the patio, surprising everyone there, after I let you steal all of that crap from everybody and didn't say a word. He looked around from his seat, man you've got a nice place here, the mortgage must be a killer though. Arlong had to hide his surprise at the boy just appearing from Nami's side next to his own. "Who are you, boy?" Naruto looked at Arlong and got a grin on his face. "You wouldn't happen to have an old relative by the name of Kisame, would you?" Naruto quickly waved his own question off. "Never mind. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. I'm just some random guy, just passing through. Don't mind me." Arlong gave Naruto an appraising look. "I see. What is it that you do with skills like that, Uzumaki Naruto?" Naruto shrugged. "Whatever I need. I do what I want and I take what I want." He raised an eyebrow at Arlong. "Why do you care? I thought I was just some filthy human." Arlong slapped his webbed hand on the table and grinned, then it settled. "You work for me now." Naruto narrowed his eyes. "I work for money." Arlong's grin got strained. "Like I said, you work for me now." Naruto didn't blink. "I work for." "Enough." Arlong broke the table with his fist. "I'm trying to spare your filthy human life because I can see that you have some skill. I should kill you out of principle just for daring to set foot in this place. However, you're also familiar with our little Nami and you look like you carry yourself well, better than the rest of the humans on this island, thus this makes you somewhat potentially valuable to me." Nami's breath hitched as she watched Naruto unflinchingly stare down Arlong without a thought. Naruto was currently weighing the positives and negatives of standing up and headbutting this guy in the face. The positives were that for one, it would make him feel better. That guy seriously had no idea who he was talking to. For another, it might make Nami smile, and not a fake one like she had been doing since they had arrived, a true smile like the one she used to give when they were with Luffy and company. The negatives were, if Nami was holding back her anger then chances were that she wanted to do it her damn self, but something was stopping her from doing so, and if he acted on his desire to break this guy's jaw, that might have some negative repercussions for Nami that would really force Naruto to kill this guy, and he didn't really feel like slaughtering a base of mermen today, not without a good reason anyway. Naruto simply smirked and stood up. "Okay Arlong, you've got me. As long as you can pay me some good money I'll work for you. What do you want from me?" Arlong grinned once more. "A good choice. The job I have for you is quite simple. Just stay with Nami and keep her safe. She's very valuable to us, you see. She seems to trust you enough to bring you here and believe I wouldn't eviscerate you, thus you must be somewhat reliable to her." Naruto looked at Nami. Her eyes were very sorrowful as she looked at him. She didn't want him to get involved in this, but in response, he simply gave her a huge foxy grin and turned to Arlong. "Deal. However, I don't answer to you." Arlong was about to snap again when Naruto raised his hand. "I answer to Nami, who answers to you apparently, therefore you are still indirectly my boss, but Nami is the only one that can tell me to do anything. That isn't too bad, is it? I don't think your mermen would accept me as a regular member of your crew anyway, so this should work out better." Arlong chuckled. "You don't fear us, do you, Uzumaki?" Naruto shook his head. "If I told you all of the things that I've seen in my time, you'd understand why your appearance means very little to me." Naruto reached his hand out. "So do we have an accord?" Arlong grinned and slapped Naruto on the back. "Very well, Uzumaki." He turned to the rest of the mermen. "Our sister has returned and she's brought us a new ally. Let's celebrate." The mermen all let out a loud cheer at Arlong's proclamation. Nami wasn't very pleased with Naruto's actions at Arlong Park, but what could he have done? She didn't want him to haul off and start a one-man war against them, and he was stuck there until he could find a way to leave, not that he was leaving anyway with all of these questions of his still up in the air. Nami had basically taken him aside in the middle of the mermen's party and told him to leave. At first he was apprehensive about leaving her there, but she simply laughed bitterly. "Arlong would never harm his golden goose. Just head to a village a short ways away from here, that's Kokoyashi village. There should be a house with a tangerine grove in the back." Naruto walked through the village of Kokoyashi and apparently word of him more or less joining up with Arlong moved fast because he was getting looks from the people ranging from fear to outright hostility. "It's been a long time since anyone has looked at me like that." Naruto eventually made it to a quaint looking place at the top of the hill. Naruto made his way to the front door and gave it a spirited knock before being greeted with a pistol in his face. "Well, hello to you too. Who are you and what are you doing here?" Naruto tried to look around the gun to get a look at the feminine voice. The person threatening him with a gun was a woman with bluish hair with a red tie keeping bangs from her face. She wore black pants and a yellow sleeveless top that showed off a tattoo that reached from her shoulder across her chest, where Naruto's eyes stopped. A pistol being pushed against his cheek attracted his attention. "Back up, you should answer now before I pull the trigger." Naruto calmly placed his hand on the gun and lowered it. "Nami sent me here for some reason. Apparently she didn't want me around Arlong or something. Now pretty lady, what may I call you?" "My name is Najiko and since you know her well enough, I'm Nami's sister." She lowered the gun. "What are you doing with Arlong's men?" Naruto shrugged. "Following your sister, I guess." Najiko sighed and moved out of the doorway. "Well, come on in, I guess." Naruto walked inside at her behest. "Why she would send you here in this village I don't know." Naruto smirked, well maybe she was trying to keep the mermen at Arlong Park from murdering me just for standing around. They don't seem to tolerate me like they do her. Najiko sighed again as she led him through the house, she's too valuable to them to harm. And they've gotten used to her by now, in hindsight it probably was a good idea for her to send you here. Naruto walked into a room where Najiko sat at a table across from a little boy, hey you're the brat whose ass Nami kicked outside of Arlong Park. What the hell are you doing here? The boy jumped up and glared at Naruto, she didn't kick my ass, she just caught me off guard. Naruto snickered, yeah, because you having a sword pointed at us threatening to kill us, is you off guard. She flattened you. If I wasn't so confused by it I probably would have laughed my ass off. The boy was about to shout at Naruto again until Najiko gave him a stern glance, Chabo settled down. Naruto looked to the side and had to do a double take as he saw an unconscious Usopp laying on the ground, holy crap, they caught us fast. How the hell did they get here? Nami stole their ship. Najiko looked strangely at Usopp on the ground, you know this person? Naruto nodded, yeah, he's a part of the crew that Nami was traveling with. She stole their ship and came here while we were at Barati. I was asleep somewhere where she didn't bother to look so she couldn't really kick me off. Who beat him up? Najiko laughed slightly, it was me. It was either that or let him get killed by the mermen in Gosa village. Najiko noticeably flinched after mentioning Gosa village and turned to look at Chabo who was holding back tears. Naruto narrowed his eyes, what exactly happened to Gosa village? Najiko looked away, Arlong and his pirates happened to Gosa village. Naruto stood up and walked towards the front door, I'm going to see for myself what exactly you all aren't telling me. You and your sister are keeping something very important from me and I plan on finding out what that something is. Naruto exited the premises before vanishing outside of the window in a whirlwind of leaves. Naruto stomped back to Kokoyashi village, foregoing an outright run to stomp back and cool himself off. The village of Gosa was completely destroyed, houses had been upturned like some kind of joke, there wasn't a soul in the entire village. There was something seriously wrong with that Arlong guy, Naruto hoped that for Nami's sake he didn't have to see him again, or he might just forget Nami's apprehension towards Naruto trying to kill him. Apparently there were still lunatics outside of the elemental nations that had no problem destroying lives out of personal greed and evil. Naruto was just waiting for one good excuse to crush that fool under his heel and be done with it. No one would miss that scum if he suddenly up and got vaporized one day, he was sure of that. Arlong Empire? They're thinking of building their own empire? Naruto heard Usopp's distinctive voice by a few buildings near the outskirts of town, he'll conquer all of the towns in the East Blue, that means my town too. He saw the two of them leaning against a wall watching Arlong shake the people down. Najiko closed her eyes lazily, maybe. The best thing we can do now is stay quiet and be patient. No pretty Najiko, the best thing you can do is give me a reason to kill him and be done with it. They both jumped in surprise as Naruto appeared between them with a perturbed look on his face. Najiki recovered first, where did you come from? Usopp pointed at Naruto angrily, you and Nami stole our ship and left us at Barati. How can you show your face to me? Naruto looked at Najiko, I came from Gosa village. I shouldn't have gone actually, I'm so pissed off right now I couldn't see straight half of the way here. But that's a conversation for another time that I will be having with both you and your sister about exactly what the hell is going on here. He then looked at Usopp, I can show my face to you here because I'm not a coward and none of you scare me. Besides, I didn't steal anything. Nami stole it, I was just asleep in the crow's nest, so sue me. Usopp's jaw was slack, well why didn't she just kick you off? Naruto grinned, because I'm too awesomely sexy to just throw off of a perfectly good ship like that. Right Najiko? Naruto finished with a wink sent her way. Najiko rolled her eyes and rested them back on the spectacle Arlong was causing, Jen-san. Arlong had grabbed a scarred man in a police uniform by his collar and hoisted him up, you've been stockpiling weapons, a person with a weapon is one that wants to go against me and I can't forgive that. Because that person has destroyed peace in my area. Arlong smirked cruelly, so I guess I have to kill you as a lesson for the others so that everyone knows what will happen to anyone who dares to go against me. Usopp's eyes bulged out, are you kidding me? He's only got a sword and he's going to be killed. Naruto kept a stone gaze on the proceedings with his fingers tracing the kunai pouch on his thigh, give me the okay Najiko, I'll cut that arm that's holding that man up right off for you. He'll never see it coming, I guarantee it. Najiko suddenly ran out into the open, Arlong, you can't do this to us. We have always paid you for the last 8 years. Until now there has been absolutely no one who has gone against you. Release Jen-san. Arlong looked at the girl in amusement, I already told you that owning a weapon means trying to go against my rule. I have to kill this man to maintain peace in the areas under my control. Or do you want me to destroy the whole village? You can choose. If you hurt any one of us the village will be completely destroyed. The villagers all backed off with anger in their eyes. Naruto clenched his fists alongside Usopp. Usopp, you have no idea how much I want to kill this person right now. I'm just fucking begging him to give me a current reason to do so. Usopp kept his eyes on Arlong, though his hands were creeping uncharacteristically towards his slingshot. Why don't you go out and do it? You weren't scared of Kuro and you destroyed him. That's what Nami said. Naruto scoffed, he was going to kill you and that girl Kaya right in front of me. I wasn't going to let decent people like you die right in front of me if I could help it. I like to fight, true, but I only really fight when there's a good reason for it. Usopp shot him a quick look, well then why not fight him now? He's threatening that man out there and saying he'll destroy the village. Naruto's eye twitched, because from what I've seen this place seems to want to handle its own problems. Like I said to you, they want to defend this place with their own hands, apparently they're doing it in their own way, how I don't understand but they are, I can see it in their eyes. Right then Genzo yelled to the people not to fight, to be patient. Naruto cringed when Arlong slammed him face first into a beam, that man is doing that right now. He's trying to save himself and the village without fighting. Jumping in when he's so sure it will work would just be an insult to him and these people. Arlong grabbed Genzo and lifted him over his head to slam him on his neck, the ones who dare to go against me will end up like this. This is an example. Naruto's eyes widened, oh. Murphy's Law I swear. Usopp placed his goggles on it. He fired a shot at Arlong that hit home right in his face, explosion marble. Everyone buzzed about what just happened, look there's someone on the roof. Who the hell are you? Usopp stood with his arms crossed, I am the bravest warrior out of the East Blue. Captain Usopp. He spoke bravely, but his knees were shaking. All of the villagers were wondering who this guy was. Nezuko just looked concerned, everyone calls me evil Usopp from hell and are afraid of me. If you go back to where you came from I'll forgive you, for I have over 8,000 crewmen with me. Arlong stood up, smoking from the explosion, I don't care if you have tens of thousands of men with you, I will kill them all. He looked at Usopp with murder in his eyes, you puny human you dare to go against me. You're just a weakling. Arlong lifted the house that Usopp was standing on up off of its foundations before throwing at the protest of the rest of his crew. Usopp survived and took off running to escape. Arlong had to be held back to keep from causing more damage to the surrounding buildings. Naruto decided to reveal himself and try to run damage control, appearing in the middle of the ruckus with a shunshin, surprising everyone there. He looked over at Arlong, what the hell is wrong with him? The towering fishman in a karate gi walked up blocking Arlong from Naruto's view with a strict gaze, nothing you need to concern yourself with Uzumaki. What are you doing here anyway? Naruto raised an eyebrow, I came here because you all seem to want to cut me a pair of gills, and staying in Arlong Park with the rest of you didn't seem to be the smartest move in that instance. I don't work for you anyway, I work for Nami, and until she tells me to do something I do whatever I want. The fishman walked closer to Naruto in an attempt to tower over him, as long as you're on our island human, you listen to what all of us fishmen say. We control everyone that lives here. Naruto scoffed and turned around, then it's a good fucking thing that I don't live here huh? You might want to handle Arlong before he razes this place to the ground. He kept a heated glare on Naruto who was walking towards the villagers. Naruto felt his eyes on him, well. Are you going to just stare at my back? I know I'm sexy and everything, but I wasn't aware you were into the interspecies thing, let alone with a dude. Naruto walked through the crowd of people to leave a fuming fishman to attend to his boss. He sneered at Naruto and then looked at the villagers, this time you're safe, we'll be back. Naruto sat on the rooftops as he watched the villagers fuss over Genzo's wounds. They were talking about some system, but Naruto couldn't hear what this system entailed. Long time no see everyone. Everyone's attention turned to Nami entering the village. She frowned at the village and widened her eyes at the sight of Naruto waving at her from the rooftops before he jumped down and landed next to Genzo and Nezuko. Nezuko smiled at her sister, what's wrong? You don't usually walk through the village. Nami looked around, I heard the noise so I came through. It's Arlong, right? Genzo just kept looking down, as if to ignore her. Nami just kept on walking up the hill. Nezuko looked over at Naruto and walked off after her. Nami sat down by a grave at the edge of a cliff and placed a bouquet of flowers on it, 7 million bili to go. Nezuko came up from behind her, your name is still pretty bad. Nami chuckled humorlessly, I am a pirate, but Arlong is an understandable person. I collect and steal money for them. Soon I'll be able to fulfill my promise. She smiled back at Nezuko, if I can get 100 million bili I'll be able to buy this village. Nami left soon thereafter to head back to Arlong Park. Nami told him that the fishman he attempted to provoke was Kurubi, one of Arlong's elite pirates. After scolding him for being an idiot, she left to head to Arlong Park once more. Naruto sighed as he sat with Nezuko inside of her house, I don't understand. Why won't you all just let me kill Arlong and be done with all of this? I'm begging you, tell me something that will make me go off and kill him. I need an excuse, please give me one. Najiko set her cheeks in her hands as she rested her elbows on the table. Is that why you intentionally provoked Kurubi back there? Because you wanted a reason to fight them? Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Yeah, I'm that transparent, huh? If he had tried to attack me, all bets would have been off. But still, I've told you I can do it. I told you I'm willing to do it if you would let me. I could torch Arlong Park to the ground after I beat the shit out of all of the fishmen. Why not let me do it? It would be so easy. Najiko shook her head. No, it's not, Naruto. You just don't understand, it's our problem, not yours. Naruto gave her a dry look. It's been my problem ever since I landed here. As long as I'm here stuck with Nami, per the terms of my agreement, it's my problem. Now spill it. What exactly is going on here? What is this guy doing to you all? Najiko looked at Naruto. Arlong has been taxing us all for 8 years. We are all forced to pay a tax regularly to Arlong and his crew. 100,000 bili per adult and 50,000 per child. Naruto almost fell out of his seat when he heard that. That's insane. Who the hell has that kind of money to spend regularly in this little place? Naruto clenched his fists. That's just unreasonable. This is almost like Nami no Kuni all over again. Doesn't anyone patrol this place? Najiko sighed. The man that does is on Arlong's peril. Naruto growled. Tell me again why I can't just smash him. Najiko rolled her eyes. Because the marine that watches this place is on Arlong's peril. Naruto stood up. Then why don't I just drop him too? With her hands on her hips, Najiko stood up with an angry look at Naruto. Because he's a marine captain. Do you know what will happen to you if you hurt him? The entire force of the East Blue's military will come down on you. Naruto stood up face to face with her and looked down into her eyes, as if the only thing a rat like that does is hide behind his money and status. If he comes here and I get a hold of him, I'll put him down. Maybe then somebody competent will be stationed nearby so that some actual justice can be carried out. So far I'm not liking what I see of your marines. Most of them are corrupt, incompetent fools. I would actually pay cash to meet one that was actually doing their job. If the marines will come after me for actually doing the right thing, then fuck them. They can try to kill me, I'm not as weak as you seem to believe. You don't even truly believe I could beat Arlong. Even though I repeatedly assure you he has no chance against me, you still think I can't win. Najiko had tears beginning to form in her eyes. Arlong and his crew have beaten everyone. The only way we can be free is if Nami's plan works. Najiko bit her tongue as she didn't want to say that to an outsider. Naruto narrowed his eyes. What plan? Najiko averted her eyes from his. Naruto grabbed her chin and turned her face back towards him. Najiko, what plan? Talk to me, you've already told me this much, and I'm as involved as someone like me can get without directly marching on Arlong Park with intent to kill. Najiko broke down and told him everything. About how Arlong appeared and took over, about her and Nami's adopted mother Bellamere, about how he shot her in front of the girls for not having the money to pay the tax for them all, about how Nami was forced to join Arlong's crew and her plan to free the village, all of it. By the end she was in tears in Naruto's arms, who could do nothing for her but let her cry. As far as he could tell, it had been a long time since she had allowed herself to do so. Naruto sat with her in his lap, just letting her cry on him as he silently tried to comfort her. Eventually she stopped shaking in his grasp. Are you okay? Najiko looked up at him with puffy eyes. Yes. I'm sorry, this is really embarrassing, breaking down like that. Naruto smiled at her and rubbed her back consolingly. It's no big deal to cry, Najiko. Everyone has to once in a while, and you've been through a lot. It's alright, it didn't bother me at all. Although you got my sage coat totally soaked. He finished with something of a chuckle. Najiko blushed as she saw the large wet spots on Naruto's red coat. Sorry, Naruto-kun. Najiko blushed deeper as she realized what she just called the blonde foreigner. Could you put me down? Naruto grinned at her. Why, Najiko-chan? He held her a little bit tighter. What? Is this making you uncomfortable? I thought you liked it. Najiko hit him on the chest lightly. I don't know you nearly that well to be cuddling with you, new guy. Naruto put on a mischievous smirk. Well, you could get to know me. Suddenly there was an uproar from cliffside that gave Najiko an excuse to hop out of his lap and run to the door. Oh, would you look at that? There's something going on outside. I guess I should go and check it out. Naruto laughed loudly as he saw how abruptly she bolted from the house. Naruto leisurely made his way to where Najiko had run off to and found her along with the other villagers staring out at a ship just offshore. So what's going on here? The villagers were wary of his presence and telling him anything due to him working with Arlong. Naruto rolled his eyes at their hesitance as Najiko answered his question. There's a ship here to help get the survivors from Goza village out of here. Naruto nodded. Okay, I understand that, but why is it firing on Arlong Park? What? The ship fired a cannonball at Arlong Park, but no explosion ever rang out. Naruto shook his head. Those poor fools. Najiko looked at him strangely. What do you mean? Naruto's eyes were locked on the marine ship. Do you really think Arlong is going to let that slide? You should all stop watching this right now, it would be better if you didn't see what was about to happen. Suddenly cries went out on the ship before a whirlpool opened up underneath it. Najiko kneeled down to a little boy who was watching in horror, even though they came to rescue us. Najiko put a hand on his shoulder, this is the truth. No one can escape from Arlong's power. As the ship was sucked into the whirlpool, Naruto scoffed at Najiko's words, what did I just get through telling you, Najiko-chan? It's not that, it's just that the right people aren't doing anything to stop this. Genzo turned to Naruto, don't you work for Arlong? Why are you speaking like this? Naruto gave the scarred man a smile, I don't work for Arlong, I told him I work for Nami so that I could stay here until this was finished. And I'm speaking like this because it's the truth. Let me loose on Arlong, stop putting all of your eggs in one basket. The village gasped when Naruto said that, if she can't pull it off then that would break her heart. Not letting her know that you all know what she's doing is even worse because you're making her feel alone. Genzo moved towards Naruto, we're trying to give her a way out in case she ever does want to just quit and have her own life. Naruto shook his head, she's in too deep now, Najiko told me she only needs 7 million more. She won't quit now no matter what, you can at least let her know that you support her. Trust me, there's not much worse than having no one on your side. Naruto walked off, I'm going back to Arlong Park to get something kickstarted here, I'm sick of all of this posturing and sitting around, it isn't my style in situations like this. Najiko blinked and ran after him, wait you idiot. On the path back to Arlong Park, Naruto stopped and blinked at the sight of Usopp being mashed between Zoro's sheath and Sanji's foot, hey guys, you made it here after all. Seriously, you guys were fast. Naruto. Was the collective cry from the crew minus Sanji who didn't know him that well at all. Naruto noticed a new member, well it looks like you got that cook you were looking for. Usopp stroked his chin, there must be a reason she joined those mermen. Naruto smirked, yeah there is, but it's not my place to tell. This place likes to keep their problems local. Naruto looked around, where are those other 2 swordsman guys that were with you? Sanji pointed back the way they had come. Naruto sighed, of course I just missed them, that's just my luck. Naruto kept walking down the path, alright then, I'm going to Arlong Park. You guys can do what you want, but I will be looking for any reason to kick Arlong's ass, of which I hope will be coming soon, he'll fuck up and overstep his boundaries very soon. Later. Najiko just watched Naruto walk off towards Arlong Park whistling a jaunty tune. She looked at the rest of Luffy's crew, of which most were just relaxing, are you just going to let him go right into their base alone? That's so reckless. Zoro looked up from where he was sitting against a tree, well he says he's not a part of the crew therefore Luffy doesn't have any say over him. I don't think Luffy would stop him if he was anyway. The guy knows what he's doing I guess. Najiko rubbed her temple, if I tell you Nami's story for why she joined Arlong's crew will you leave? Luffy stood up, I don't need to hear this because I don't care. I'll be taking a walk. Usopp watched Luffy walk off in the opposite direction than the one Naruto went in, you don't want to hear about her past. Luffy didn't turn around, no, I don't. A few hours later. Naruto quickly got bored waiting at Arlong Park for anything to happen. Nami hadn't even come back. He hadn't seen her for most of the day and he knew that she could take care of herself, but the thing that had unnerved him more than anything was that whenever he looked at Arlong, he had a satisfied look on his face and whenever he locked eyes with Naruto, he would give the immortal a smug grin. Naruto's senses started tingling and he shunshined out of Arlong Park. Upon being sure of the blonde's absence, Arlong let out the victorious laughter that he had been holding back in Naruto's presence. Naruto arrived back in the village to find many people crowding around the doctor's office. Naruto pushed his way through them all and found Genzo sitting by a bandaged up Najiko. Naruto let out a low growl, what happened? Genzo gritted his teeth, that rat Major Nezumi came and took all of Nami's money. Arlong told them where it was and they tore apart the property looking for it. Naruto looked at Najiko and noticed that her bandages were on her back. He gently ran his hand over them as his eyes softened on her, what did they do to you? Upon primarily getting silence for his question his eyes sharpened, hey. He snapped, getting everyone around to jump at his tone of voice, I said what did they do to you? Genzo looked away with his fists shaking, Najiko looked down, that bastard shot me in the back. Naruto didn't say a word. He simply turned and walked out of the building, passing all of the villagers with a stern look on his face. As he came to the outskirts of the village he saw Nami running towards it with tears in her eyes. He caught her and held her in his arms for a moment before lowering his mouth by her ear, I said that all I needed was an excuse. Just one good excuse to raise Arlong's fortress to the ground and he gave it to me. Nami's eyes widened, what? Like her sister not long before her he could feel Nami involuntarily shaking against his chest. He broke your heart. He used you and tricked you. Naruto let her go and continued to walk along the path towards Arlong Park, for the last time, no one hurts my precious people. Nami stared at his back until he walked out of sight before continuing to run into the village as she heard the people begin to rally. Naruto came to the east gate where he saw Johnny and Yusaku get thrown out by a group of mermen. They looked extremely beaten up. Naruto looked them over with a raised eyebrow, so I guess you all know what they did to Nami already, right? Johnny and Yusaku nodded. We accused her of being a witch, of killing Usopp and Nikki. After understanding the situation we tried to fight for Nami Anu. We almost had them. We can't face her after all of the things we said. Naruto wanted to roll his eyes, but he really didn't feel like being sarcastic or witty right now. You guys are both weak, you know that, right? Did you really think that you had a chance of taking Arlong and his men out as you are? That was just asking for trouble. Johnny and Yusaku both looked down without saying a word. Naruto walked forward and patted them both on the shoulder, getting them to look up at the whisker-cheeked blonde smiling face. That being said, I have to say that fighting like that for a friend definitely puts you two up a notch in my book. Naruto walked past them towards the gate, rolling his shoulder to get any kinks out. That puts you both at notch 1. Getting over their momentary shock, the two swordsmen jumped up to try and stop Naruto from confronting the fishmen. Wait, Naruto and Nikki. You should wait for Luffy and Nikki, Sanji and Nikki, Usopp and Nikki, and Zoro and Nikki. You can't go in there alone. Naruto looked back at them and saw that the villagers were coming up armed with anything that they had to fight. You might be better off trying to stop them than me. It just occurred to me that none of you have ever seen me fight before, have you? I mean, Nami saw a little bit, Luffy and her have seen me use one real attack, but other than that there hasn't been much of a reason for me to cut loose. Johnny and Yusaku now had people at their back as they stared at the mysterious man in the red coat. What are you saying, Naruto and Nikki? Naruto cracked his neck. What I'm saying is, Luffy and the others better get here soon or there won't be anything left of Arlong Park for them to attack. Naruto formed a blue ball of energy in his hand and thrust it into the iron gate, sending it flying off of the hinges. He created 3 cage bunchen to stand outside the gate. When the people started making for the entrance, they simply stood there shaking their heads and blocking the way. The ruckus brought a bunch of Arlong's men rushing towards the gate to see just what had caused it. When they found Naruto and the entire village of Kokoyashi a good way behind him outside of the threshold. What are you doing here, Uzumaki? Arlong-san didn't call for you or Nami. Naruto bared his teeth, revealing his naturally sharpened canines. I told Arlong already that I don't work for him, I'm here for Nami and nothing else. And from this day forward the little arrangement he had with her is null and void. You think you can take my prized map maker away from me, Uzumaki? Arlong's laughter came as he sat on his patio looking over Naruto with an amused face, and why would that be, puny human? Naruto lifted his cold blue eyes to Arlong, who almost shivered at the lack of emotion in the usually vibrant blue orbs. Because I'm going to cut your heart out for breaking hers, and 100 million Beely is worthless to a dead man. What if Naruto was immortal in One Piece fanfiction? End here, and thanks for watching my video till the end.